of dragon's blood wouldn't do us any harm. A drop of dragon's blood wouldn't do us any harm. A drop of dragon's blood wouldn't do us any harm. 'Cause it's D&D game time. Oh, we'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. 'Cause it's D&D game time.
Oh, a bottle of rum won't do us any harm. A bottle of rum won't do us any harm. A bottle of rum won't do us any harm. 'Cause it's D&D game time.
Oh, we'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. 'Cause it's D&D game time.
Oh, there's ghosts in the sea and dead men in the sand. Old Saltmarsh sleeps while its enemies plan. Best batten down your hatches, there's a storm near at hand.
We should have stayed on land. Oh, we'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. 'Cause it's D&D game time. Arr!
Last time on Missed Opportunities, Ghosts of Saltmarsh. 6 wayward souls find themselves moored in the quiet backwater town of Saltmarsh. Talise, the water genasi cleric, and Ineris, the half-drow rogue, are fleeing Baldur's Gate after stealing from their mutual patron. The Tabaxi ranger, Valentine Longtom, arrives with them, seeking to start amassing his own fortune. Prion, the half-water elf, looks to start anew, but as an outsider, finds every door closed to him. Moriah, the half-elf bard, arrives to help her friend, the tiefling urchin Nether, whose recently emerging warlock abilities have made her the target of an unknown authority. The 6 of them are soon assembled at the request of Anders Solmore, councilman of Saltmarsh, and are given the task of investigating a haunted house perched high on the cliffs north of the city. The party discovered that the house was being used as a smuggler's hideout, and were forced to defend themselves as the criminals attacked. The outlaws were not the only threat, for lurking behind a long, locked door were half a dozen skeletons and an undead alchemist, likely the first inhabitant of the house. The adventurers were successful in their combat, and felt the house to be safely cleared for the moment. But important decisions lie ahead of them, for the smuggler's cargo was marked with the seal of none other than Gellin Primewater, the richest and most powerful person in Saltmarsh. Is Primewater a victim or a kingpin? The answer may be murkier than the waters of Saltmarsh itself. Hello, everyone! Welcome to Missed Opportunities. We are Lawful Stupid, and tonight we are playing Ghosts of Saltmarsh. Happy to have you here with us tonight. We have Jade, who is playing Prion, the water elf fighter. We have Elena playing Moriah, the half-elf bard. Teresa is playing Talise, the water genasi cleric. We have Chael playing Ineris, the half-drow rogue. Ryan is playing Valentine Longtom, the Tabaxi ranger. We have Sean playing Nether, the tiefling warlock. And Liz is going to be throwing out some divine judgment as a paladin character who is soon to be introduced. So yeah,
Paladins are the best.
I'm so excited. You inspired me so hard.
Inspired.
How are you, my friends?
Good.
Nodding.
I'm
yes, that's
ready.
good. That's good stuff.
We are.
Stoked.
Yes.
I'm back. I'm ready to go.
Setting
I am
sail
so
on
happy
another
to have
D&D
everyone
weekend, so I am here for it.
Hey.
Yes. The
Yes,
start
you
of
are.
I'm great.
The D&D weekend, indeed.
So much D&D.
Speaking of, I mean, you know, we're happy to have you here tonight, but tonight's not all we have to offer. I'm passing it over to Ryan tomorrow. Ryan, what you got going on?
Hell yeah! Come to the land of the ice and snow with the midnight sun and the critical rolls! On Saturday nights at 7 p.m., we do Cold Hard Witch, which is our playthrough of the Rime of the Frost Maiden, the Rye of the Frost Maiden.
Hey,
And then on Sunday, things get real dark.
Dark. Good sandy. But yeah, we're playing Dark Sun.
Dark and sandy.
We're playing Dark Sun on Sundays, 12 p.m. Eastern, and that is our AD&D 2nd edition game. And then we have something else on Monday.
On Mondays, come and join us in Hell as I bring our brave companions through Avernus, Descent in Avernus. They are at level 9, and we're going to be doing some interesting things in the couple of weeks coming up here. We have lots.
Does he know he's got a voice changer on?
That's right.
It's like that was like Satan's answering machine.
The
It's a bad time.
Hello,
message after the
This is a solicitation.
To the recent pandemic, we've
I
had
just
an
like-
overflux phone call.
It needs to be
Hell.
prefaced with "You have reached."
Please pay attention as our options have changed.
In light of the recent pandemic.
Oh my god. Yes.
This is a courtesy call to inform you that your warranty will soon be expired.
Oh no, this is hell!
My warranty's
Oh
fine.
god.
You have a debt.
A debt for what? No one knows.
I feel like we don't even have to play. If I could just have Sean do, awful spam in this voice for hours, like that's
Yes,
that's quality
please.
content. Quality content. 100 p.
Hundo P quality
Hundo.
content.
No?
Nah.
Poor
Yeah.
Jade.
I'm not feeling well.
Cool.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh.
Oh.
You want a rat kebab?
Yes, please.
Jade's a little sick from the second poke.
The
Yeah.
first poke.
Right.
Oh, but
The first
congrats on
poke.
your
His
second
first.
First
poke.
poke.
First.
It was his
Congrats on your
first.
first poke.
First
Yeah.
poke.
Never been
That's
poked
not
like
nearly
that
as
before.
impressive.
The second one is the bitch.
That's
Okay,
what I
yeah.
A fun second
Yeah,
time
poke.
around.
I mean, I'll be honest. I got my second, and I was okay. So
Depends
my-
on the person.
See?
might be good to go.
I had to take a day off of work and I've still got a rash at the injection site.
No.
Oh. Oh.
My husband's friends did not do well on their second jab either. They got pretty sick.
Hey, Teresa, you
my
mentioned
nose.
something about a spell, which reminded me of this is going to take like 20 seconds tops. A brief anecdote from my day. I was walking outside and some rando walked by me and complimented my coat, and I was like, I'm not going to talk to you, so I just kept walking. And he turned around and it started yelling at me, but it included saying I'm going to cast a spell at you and it's never going to break. I'm like,
Oh my god.
Okay.
It could be a good spell. You don't know.
Clearly
It could
don't
be a
know
good
my
spell.
hobbies.
That
there's
is
some
like
other less
that's like a once or
appropriate
twice in a
types of that as
lifetime
well.
experience. You don't
Like-
get that kind of creep that often.
Yeah,
I gotta
that
think.
was.
I mean,
rare.
when
That
I
was
lived
rare.
in New York, I did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like, oh, that sounds like Brooklyn.
My
Like,
God, can't wait to move there in the August.
Oh my god.
There are parts
Greenpoint's great.
Yeah.
Other
I'm
places.
living in Washington Heights, so
It'll make you.
Hey, you can go visit the building
close.
you grew up in.
I'm close to the cloisters, you guys. That's all.
I know. Oh my
For
god.
the cloisters.
Ugh. I found there was an
That's
apartment
where
I
we
almost
lived.
bought that was looking at the cloisters. It was
What? I'm moving
perfect.
in with Teresa.
Teresa?
Yeah.
No
Right
wait.
up there. That's where Naomi learned to
No
walk.
niño.
She found her shadow. She learned what bubbles were.
Oh my
Lots of fun
God.
up there.
Teresa and I will also probably learn what bubbles are. So
Also, Teresa is like the coolest person
Why are we all here again?
Well, we got
to talk.
Because
something
we're playing
else.
some D&D tonight.
We got
I believe we veered off course.
Yeah.
We are a
Us?
bit we are a bit ali, as it were, but we'll
that doesn't sound like
We've
us.
got something else as well on the 20th, don't we?
we do have something else on the 20th. I don't have a cool voice changer and I can't sing yet. So sorry about that. But March the 20th,
That's
we
a
do
fucking
have...
lie, but okay.
I said yet. On March the 20th, we do have an awesome charity stream coming up with me as your awesome, hopefully, DM. It's going to be super fun. All proceeds are going to go to the Extra Life. We're going to have an awesome group of kids streaming for the first time ever, and we're all very, very excited. It's going to be the Stranger Things mod, so come watch us. Bring your wallets because, you know, you love helping kids. You love Extra Life. And hang out with us in chat. Be 12 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes, bring money. It's for children.
It's for children. Bring money.
Think of the
Cool.
children.
You monsters.
Well, my friends, are we ready to get started?
Yay.
Baby.
I certainly am. I'm hearing I've got a bit of a sea fever tonight. I must go down to the seas again, to the roaring seas and the tide, to quote my dear friend John Masefield. So if you all are feeling the same, you're all ready for a little adventure, I invite you. Grab your sea chest. You've all got permission to come aboard. My friends, grab a line. It's time to set sail.
Oh, a drop of dragon's blood wouldn't do us any harm. A drop of dragon's blood wouldn't do us any harm. A drop of dragon's blood wouldn't do us any harm. 'Cause it's D&D game time. Oh, we'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. 'Cause it's D&D game time.
Oh, a bottle of rum won't do us any harm. A bottle of rum won't do us any harm. A bottle of rum won't do us any harm. 'Cause it's D&D game time.
Oh, we'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. 'Cause it's D&D game time.
Oh, there's ghosts in the sea and dead men in the sand. Old Saltmarsh sleeps while its enemies plan. Best batten down your hatches, there's a storm near at hand.
We should have stayed on land. Oh, we'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. We'll roll the old dice and sing a song. 'Cause it's D&D game time. Arr!
Welcome back, everyone. In case you missed the little recap at the beginning, this is the story so far. A group of, well, newly, I suppose, christened adventurers. Now, some of them have some experience wandering the Sword Coast. Others would be very reticent to leave home, even under duress. But nonetheless, they've been assembled and given the task of clearing out a haunted mansion north of Saltmarsh. They were hired by a influential man by the name of Anders Solmore, who is one of the Saltmarsh Town Council. They succeeded in clearing out this house, but in doing so found that while there were some undead, that wasn't really the issue. Those had all been locked away, everything was fine, but it was being used as a smuggler's base. They found a lot of what would be considered luxury goods all hidden away in a basement, along with a jolly boat, or a boat that is typically used to ferry goods and people across short distances. They were attacked and defended themselves against these smugglers and defeated them. But in investigating these smuggled goods, they noticed that they all bore the symbol of one Gellin Primewater, who is one of the most powerful, or is the most wealthy man in Saltmarsh, and probably the most powerful member of the Saltmarsh Council. So, having discovered all of this, the party decided, well, it's time to be back to town and figure out whether or not to approach Primewater himself, or to go to the person who hired them, Anders Solmore, How this all is to be resolved is up to them. But first, excuse me, Sarayan, you have traveled a long way from your home, from the reefs, and made the long journey across the deep chasms of the sea to places where there's light in the sky above you, but no bearing but the stars. Looking down, only blackness. Above, only blue and the occasional gray of passing storms. A few days swimming amidst almost nothing. Your body pushed to the brink of exhaustion. You made it to a sea elf tribe that you knew to be near the town of Saltmarsh, your destination. They, of course, greeted you and gave you rest, gave you food, as is their custom when seeing a rare member of the Triton Society come this close to the coast. And they also asked your help. A member of their band had gone missing. Someone who they had sent to investigate a strange ship that had been passing back and forth up and down the deserted piece of coast. They were worried that doing so could provoke some of the monsters that sort of lie at the edge of the Mirror of the Dead Men. That region of the coast is left alone, mostly for good reason. They were also worried that if perhaps these were illicit activities, that if any of them were caught fishing or just going about their lives as they do in this region, that them being sighted meant they might be killed on sight by these criminals. So they had a scout by the name of Duranthil investigate, and he has not been seen for days. This was not your primary mission. You, as is customary of your people and someone of your rank and station within society, it is customary for you to make a pilgrimage to the temple to Valkur in Saltmarsh, honoring the days when both those of the surf and of the sand fought together against enemies from above and below. Time mostly forgotten, but not by the Tritons. You would honor this pilgrimage, as is custom for your people. So, having these two tasks in mind, you make your way to what is, when you see it, something rather unimpressive. A small temple that stands on the rocks just near the sea. It is currently alight, and you hear the murmuring of voices, a song sung in unison. Men, women, children, all singing along. The words are muffled by the surf. Soon a silence returns, and as the people depart and make the climb back up the cliffs and towards the road to what you must assume is Saltmarsh, you see a few of them break off to the side. It seems to be perhaps a single family. What looks to be a mother, a young man, probably 15 or 16 in human years by your reckoning, and two younger children as well, who make their way up to a cliff high and to the north. The water crashes and swirls below, and you're startled for a moment as you see first, the mother throw herself off of the cliff about 100 feet down, and splash. The young man encourages the younger two children, and then together, holding hands, splash below. And then, in a bold swan dive, the youth himself makes his jump. Straining to see, you then notice in the swirling surf, 4 heads then emerge and begin swimming towards the shore. Near a cluster of abandoned shacks, some halfway caved in, they make their way up onto the sand and start walking slowly back to Saltmarsh. As you approach the temple itself, you hear a soft song from within. The lights have been somewhat lowered. 2 braziers sit, and sitting next to the statue of a sailor holding a sea chest and a whaler's harpoon is a man with long gray hair and a large beard, flowing robes. He begins to turn the statue, which has been facing where the congregation would gather, and it grinds and pivots to an open alcove overlooking the sea. And as the sailor's statue begins to look out to the sea, you hear him under his breath. We have fed our sea for 1,000 years, and she calls us still unfed. Though there's never a wave of all her waves, but marks our Saltmarsh dead. We have strawed our best to the weeds' unrest, to the shark and the shearing gull. And if blood be the price of admiralty, dear gods, we have paid in full. And he takes a pull from a smoking pipe that he has set to the side, finishing this rotation. The statue of Vulcar now looks over the sea. And then he turns and looks at you. Triton, what tidings do you bring us here at Saltmarsh?
Freshly emerged from... Oh,
We-
can you hear me?
We might need to boost your volume a little bit there, Liz.
Should I just hold my mic for now?
Maybe for now until we can figure it out later. Yeah.
Hi. Welcome
Way
to
to
my
set
show.
the mood. That's good.
I can't help it. We know this
I'm just
about
kidding.
me.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm serious. This is now role playing.
Triton, what tidings do you bring us here in Saltmarsh?
I have come just on my pilgrimage to your wonderful temple. Sarayan looks around and observes the inside of the temple.
It is quaint. It is unimpressive architecture. The temples to Persona that you're used to seeing are immense structures. The architecture curls up, almost resembling nautiluses, or entire reefs. There's a beautiful blend of symmetry and ratio, and the odd bit of dissonant asymmetry that just makes it beautiful. This is square. There are some arches, but it is squat. It is only about
30 feet tall, and you think as you feel yourself now, you've not spent much time on dry land, and you can see that, well, not having the buoyancy of the water around it necessitates a sturdier, squatter build, but still, you would expect this of, well, you expected more in the dedication of a god. There are frescoes. Some of them have faded over time, depicting a sailor bravely rescuing comrades, pulling them from the water. One, he appears to be leading battle against a foe that you recognize as the evil Sahuagin, the most evil and cunning of the water races. And there's also one of him as an old man pointing out as more sailors go to do the bidding of Saltmarsh, the different stages of the life of Valkur. You have heard the parables, and you know that this is appropriate. You see that the floor itself is quite clean. You almost see a water line at part of the temple too, as if it's almost expected for the tide to come in or large waves to come in at times and clean away whatever is there. And indeed, though this seems to be a practice more associated with more evil gods, you see that there are small offerings left simply about the floor for the tide to take when it comes. So that is what you see in this temple.
What sorts of offerings?
There are
like non-living offerings.
Right, a silver piece here and there, some food. You see a bowl of what looks like might be wine poured out. And then you see what look to be a few letters tied up with string, perhaps. The floor is a bit damp and it's already starting to soak through the paper that they're written upon. And you can see the ink starting to bleed through just barely.
So at this point, is it relatively clear that whatever service or ceremony that was being held has concluded?
It is, yes.
Okay, so Sarayan would feel that it is not appropriate to be conducting a conversation with someone across a large distance. So she wants to approach the priest and ask him or her about the ceremony that she just witnessed.
Okay. Ah. Yes. A sailor lost to the waves. There was a mighty storm about, 2 weeks back, and if he hasn't been found by now, 10 days. Some have been known to last long on the driftwoods, but his boat was never found. We hoped that Valkur would bring him back, and now we trust that he carries the man's soul to rest, wrestling it bravely from Umberlee's cool grasp.
I see. And who
I
were
saw
the...
you looking about. These are the offerings to him, and the husbands and the wives of those who have been widowed leave messages, praying that Valkur's tide will carry their tidings to their lost loved ones.
And who were the people I saw jumping from the cliff?
That was his widow and his children. It's customary.
I see.
It reminds us that we give all to the sea. But the mighty forces and Valkur is gracious and courageous.
Indeed.
Most swim back ashore with the riches we need to live.
Well, it was certainly an interesting moment for me to arrive.
Triton, you are welcome here, but I must ask again. Is there war coming?
Inasmuch as I can see and have heard, no.
You
I'm
see him
just
sort of visibly relax at this point. So.
yeah,
Just the journey, then.
just the journey. I meant to become a leader in our military, so I'm just
Yes.
making my pilgrimage.
I see. You are welcome here, and you will find all of our inns and the food therein. The comforts of Saltmarsh, little as they are open to you.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
And you see him, he's visibly relieved by you saying this. Seeing you, you get the sense he saw you almost as something slightly otherworldly. He has probably not laid eyes on a Triton, or at least a member of royalty and of the royal service of Persona before. It's an unusual thing. Is there anything else I can do for you? You should stay at least a day or so. Let me gather supplies for the long swim back.
Oh, I appreciate that. Where would you suggest I seek lodging?
I suggest the snapping line.
The snapping
Quaint.
lion?
Line.
Ah, I don't know what a lion is, so.
Indeed.
Indeed. They share a laugh. Well, thank you so much. When should I return for my supplies?
Give me a day or two.
Is there anything else you think I ought to see while I'm here before I journey back home?
No, but I'll be leaving here, and when the night calls, you might want to sit and listen. He's not so old as your old Persona, but he and Volker have a bit of an understanding. You never know what the tides might whisper to you.
And is the best place to listen for Volker here?
He kind of breathes deep. Anywhere on the waves, but something about it echoes a bit more clearly in this place.
Then I'll make my way back at some point. Thank you.
He nods and says, and says a phrase in very, very broken Aquan, but it's almost charming that it's basically a blessing of strength and honor and of kinship. One of the words is associated with when you have a group of soldiers. The same bond that when you leave in this Triton society and something has to be done, and you just look about and say, all of you, we have to go. Mm-hmm. They will drop whatever they're doing, pick up their weapons and go, because that's what you do. That same sense of duty is a word that is included in this blessing. And it is the one that he pronounces the best, though around it, it's pretty broken, as if it's something that he read once and tried to pronounce.
Well, Sarayan takes what she can in from his blessing and acknowledges his kindness by thanking him in Aquan.
And he graciously accepts and allows you to go. As you start to leave, you hear a small conversation happening on the hillside. A discussion between about 6 individuals. 6 very different individuals. There's a range of typical physiology and looks that the Triton people have, but these are clearly not all human. Some are potentially of races you've only heard about before. As we will start, one of them looks a bit familiar to you, and one of them is also surprisingly has this energy radiating from her that reminds you of home and of the sea itself. And the first one sort of striding forward, seeming to decide that she wants to come to this place, is an actual water genasi. Teresa, would you care to describe your character? You are muted.
That's what she is. She's muted. That's all she is. That's the description. She has seafoam green skin, and her hair sort of starts with I'm gonna get it backwards because I wrote it down wrong. Her hair starts white and then works its way. Nope, I said it backwards. It starts dark blue and then sort of eventually works its way down to all white. The cool thing about her hair, though, is that it doesn't lay flat. It's always up in the air as if she's swimming. And so it's always like slightly behind her movements. And exactly, it's mermaid hair, but without being a mermaid. And she's in quite a bit of armor, and she has a very ugly giant shield that she's sort of just carrying right now.
And what is the emblem on the shield?
The emblem will be something nice that has to do with Valcor, but right now it's just, I don't think we actually talked about the emblem that it was when she picked it up, because we just looted it as an old.
Sure. Yeah. Gotcha. And then behind her are standing a number of other people as well. Someone you recognize as looking somewhat elvish. It reminds you slightly of the water elves with whom you've had dealings. Prion, would you like to describe your character?
Yes, Prion is a half elf, very immaculate styled beard, very handsome, piercing blue eyes. He is carrying a trident, a shield, and is armored in chain. And landing on his shoulder is a seagull that no one's seen before.
And
That's
among him are other creatures that seem to have been of Fey descent as well. One of them with striking white hair. Inaris, would you like to describe your character? We cannot hear you as well. I want to hear all your lovely voices.
Professional stream, everyone.
No voices tonight.
We're professionals here. So whenever you look over to see Inaris, she has long, striking white hair, a little bit curly. She has obsidian skin, red eyes, and then she has like black traveling leathers. You see that she's got a short bow, a short sword, various little pouches attached to her. She's got thigh-high boots on and a traveling cloak.
And with her bearing perhaps slightly more of a human look, but still with the unmistakable grace of elven kind, is Mariah. Elena, would you care to describe your character?
Sure. So, Mariah bears more of a sort of sun elf coloring on that side of the family. Sort of coppery skin, auburn hair, and reddish eyes. And she's less equipped for battle than some of her other compatriots. She has a quiver for some bolts and a small crossbow, but in addition to her pack, she has a strange large case that she carries slung over her shoulder as well. She wears comfortable traveling clothes and a large black overcoat, and looks around kind of with a pleasant air, taking everything in.
And then potentially the two strangest sights in front of you are first the tabaxi, Valentine Longtom.
Valentine stands before you, a black cat with a white North Star upon his chest. He has the unmistakable garb of a ranger, wearing mariner armor that has sort of these silver scales to it, and his constant companion is the bird, known as Bird. She doesn't like to get wet.
And with him then, the tiefling Nether.
Nether is about somewhere between 4.5 and 5 feet tall, looking to be maybe in her very early teens, 13, 14, 15, around there. She has very pale skin with a slight blue tinge, almost like someone who's been out in the cold for too long. Her lips have a bit of a darker blue coloration. Her hair is pale, except for the tips of the front part of it, which are vibrant blue. She has very strong tiefling features. Her legs are cloven and have that sort of goat sort of bend kink to them. And she has very large horns. Also, a bandage over her eyes, and you can see just barely visible through the bandage some glowing. And if you've got a high passive perception, at some point you'll probably realize that she casts neither a shadow nor reflection. And she's got a little bit of a limp as she walks, and she's holding on to a plain oaked staff that looks like it has some sort of semi-precious stone, jade or something like that, on the very top of it.
And all of you who have known each other see exiting the temple that you are now looking at the form of Sarayan. Would you like to describe what she looks like?
Yes. So Sarayan is a medium height. She's about 5'5", and she's a muscular, clearly athletic build. She is wearing heavy armor, and she has a sword sheathed at her hip, but you can see that the blade is very ornate, and it resembles the color of the ocean. Her skin color is kind of the color of coral, and then a light coral, almost flesh toned, but definitely more pink. And then her hair is mermaidy, but a more intense coral. So she's kind of monochromatic in that way. And she has piercing blue eyes that are light blue, and that the entire surface of the eye is that color. And she holds herself with a lot of dignity and pride, and you can tell that she is a confident young woman. She is about 17 or so. But she looks a little unsure at this moment. But she clearly comes from a moneyed background. She bougie.
So that is who you see emerging from the temple.
DM, can we get a name for that priest, just for the reference?
Yeah, he would have introduced himself, and those of you who have been in Saltmarsh would know that his name is Welgar Brinehand.
Welgar.
So we've come here because, well, no, it wasn't Nana. It was,
Boop, boop, boop.
sorry,
boop.
Talise. Sorry. A little tired today, y'all.
I was like, the one in front.
Right. How much time do you need here, Talise?
I just wanted to sort of check in at the temple and then see if one of them would maybe help paint and maybe bless my shield.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. All right. Well,
So I think
less away.
maybe.
Talise and her god.
Okay.
Talise and her god.
Buckler is the best.
Talise and her god will get a shield for the one with.
So what are you doing, Talise?
Good God. I would like to, not me, Talise would like to, I'd like to stay here. Talise would like to start walking very confidently and excitedly towards the temple, holding out my shield. all
She
ready
wants to go to the water temple.
Okay.
She wants to go to the water. Sorry.
Mute.
So you're walking past Sarayan, and you kind of get to the temple, and you see.
Definitely,
You-
as I see her, I would, not just ignore her.
Yeah. Okay. You begin
But-
walking up, and Sarayan, this sort of creature who seems to be partially incarnate of water elementals themselves, now stands before you.
Sarayan greets the water Genasi she sees in front of her.
Hi, how are you?
No, you go ahead.
Are you coming to or from the temple?
I'm leaving the temple.
Are you making your pilgrimage?
I am. I'm making my pilgrimage.
I've never seen one. That's so exciting. Oh, that's so good for you. And she's gonna like clap her arm, be like, yeah.
Sarayan literally draws back. She is unaccustomed to people touching her in this way.
Oh, and fun fact, I definitely left a wet handprint on you.
Sarayan just kind of looks down, but not forgetting her manners, says, yes, it is. It's quite exciting.
Oh, that's so great. Was the temple nice? I haven't been to this one yet. Is it as nice as some of the other ones? It doesn't look great, but it doesn't look bad.
Well, and she motions for her to come closer. Just between you and I, it's not the most impressive architecturally. But I think that the people who dwell on the surface do the best they can with what they have.
Huh. Oh, okay. On the surface. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to go and hopefully they'll have somebody who can paint. Maybe. Were the
Paint.
murals bad? Were the murals great or were they bad? Or were they great?
They were faded. I honestly couldn't tell.
Well, okay.
Not as good as you'd find, under the surface, but passable.
Okay. Well, thank you for all your help.
Thank you.
I hope you have a good pilgrimage.
No. She just kind of walks away.
As this conversation is happening, the rest of us are hanging back. I turn to Priyan and I sort of nod towards the two of them. You feel inclined to join this confluence of the aquatically oriented?
Oh, no, this is very entertaining.
That's what I thought.
God.
And you see then Sarayan sort of walking up towards the rest of the group as Talise enters the temple.
Yep.
If there is like a basic sort of like Triton cultural greeting that exists, I do it.
Make a.
I can't speak Aquan, but like
Make a history check.
Oh my god, Mom?
5. So my mom taught me when I was like 5 years old, and then I promptly forgot.
Yeah.
So I'm
She's
like
going
digging
around like
back
a
through
chicken.
my memory.
Just like call them.
Yeah.
She's doing the arm like a chicken.
Yeah,
Walking
but I
around,
just
trying
I
to do
know
it for you.
it's wrong, but I fucking commit.
You do the Zoid bird.
Bumblebee tuna. Bumblebee tuna.
So you walk up and then just sort of standing and very confidently just this half elf just blurts out the name of a city that you've been to before and just you're just like Chicago.
Hail and well met.
I look to Mariah. I say, "Oh no! Oh, this is even better."
It's very well pronounced, but it has
I
nothing
look
to do
back
with...
at Brianna and go, "It's totally fine."
Tax incentives. All right.
This does stop again because Sarayan is incredibly polite. She does stop and she kind of gives a curt sort of nod and extends her greetings to this. What am I looking at?
Mariah's a half elf
yeah.
with sort of very auburn hair.
Yes. Okay, and given the fact that you are a half elf, I regard you with a little more respect than I do perhaps other people. I greet you in Elvish.
I take your proffered hand and say back in Elvish. Apologies. It has been a very, 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 very long time since I've had to immerse myself in the cultural delicacies of the Triton.
Immerse.
My apologies.
I reply in Elven. I'd love to know what she actually said. What did you say, Mariah?
I get the vowels mixed up sometimes.
And not to no disrespect, but frankly, it was mostly gibberish and then a name of a city. But
that's all right.
But I appreciated the effort. I am Sarayan Alaranoth of the Triton.
Mariah Nairdras of myself. Pleased to meet you.
I'm Prion.
Very pleased to meet you, and you are Prion.
Prion, yeah.
Ah, yes. And I've continued conversing with them in Elvish. Flex.
Yeah.
Does everyone here speak Elvish? Does Nether or Valentine?
Valentine does. He can also speak Aquan.
Ooh.
Well, aren't you fancy?
Nether does not speak Elvish, and she's kind of scraping her way over the rocks back towards town.
I grab Nether by the cuff of her shirt and pull her back over and pull her next to me and say in common this time, this is Nether. This is Sarayan. Yes?
Yes, Sarayan.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Hi, hello,
No
Nether.
running off you.
All right, but I need to get back.
We'll take care of it, don't worry.
In Aquan, I say, may the tide rise to meet you, to Sarayan.
Ah, indeed, I respond with something equally as beautiful.
I want to know how you got to select Aquarion. I couldn't select it. I'm a sea elf.
So what brings... This looks like an interesting congregation. What brings you all together?
Money.
Cash money, yes.
I'm sorry, cash money?
It's something that the youngins say these days.
She's writing in her journal words.
I don't think I've ever
later.
said cash money.
No. It's down in down near Baldur's Gate and south thereof.
Yes, this is my first excursion to the surface, so I wouldn't. I'm trying to learn as many things as I can. I'm on my pilgrimage.
I have so many things to share with you, but we can talk about that later. I don't know. We all kind of just showed up in the same place, and we all need cash for various reasons. So, why not work together?
And cash is money.
Money, yes. Sorry, gold.
Gold. Oh yes, gold. I understand.
Yes, most people do.
Indeed.
What?
I've never had to work. I mean, I've definitely worked. She begins scribbling furiously again.
I give her a look up and down, and I recognize the money Instantaneous.
She is moneyed, honey.
Just want to say welcome to all the raiders. Thank you very much, Zang and Manx Workshop.
Hello.
Much appreciated. Yeah, welcome, guys. Thank you for the
Huzzah.
raid.
Hey. So, yeah.
Mariah, this place makes me uncomfortable.
Right. I'm
The
together.
the openness or the templeness, or both.
They don't like me around here. I'm afraid someone's going to come out and yell.
Well,
Oh.
Then I'll yell back at
hopefully
them.
Talise will be finished shortly, and then we can go take care of the things we need to take care of.
Fine.
As you're listening, you hear the waves as they start to crash about the rocks. Sort of this. It's almost as if the overtones of each individual crash start to modulate and form almost this harmony that continues, and you feel almost drawn to it on a primordial level, and you just get mesmerized by the sound of the surf here for a moment, and then sort of cutting through that rudely is the gruff sound of the priest you heard singing before, which kind of chases away that reverie that you had for just a moment as the conversation lulled.
She makes a very pouty face.
Oh, that's a little out of tune, isn't it?
Talise, wasn't there something that you needed to temple about, or?
So Talise is walking into the temple, sort of away from the group at this point. And you walk in and you see the.
So you're right.
Talise, would you? Oh.
A similar sight as this old, weathered sailor priest sort of turns to you. He's gathering things. He's doing a bit of cleaning of the frescoes and picking off a couple bits of seaweed around the statue's feet. And he turns to you. The statue's now looking out over the sea. Well, what a day it is today.
It's a very nice day.
What brings you here, child of the sea?
I'm here to pick up. Well, do you have any artists that live here that might, the people that might have decorated your walls? I
Look at them.
I found something, and I'm a follower of Valkor, and so I would love to have some artwork drawn on this shield. And if you or someone could bless my shield, that would mean quite a bit to me.
Are you a follower?
Yes.
Hmm.
And then I'll point to my little brooch that I have with the Valkor lightning and the clouds.
He kind of smiles and then takes a long draw from a couple puffs from the pipe and then sets it down and walks forward and brings forth his hands as if to take the shield.
Giant shield.
Aye. Bless it I can. Unfortunately, the ones who've done these murals are centuries dead.
Oh.
As you can tell by their state.
As he looks up and you see that they are indeed peeling in places. They're cracked, though. The sanctity of the space is somehow maintained despite the sea change happening within it. And he kind of takes it, and he actually walks out of the temple past you with the shield, and then kind of makes a corner and goes around down towards the rocks, and looks at it, and just puts it out and then drops it into a little tide pool.
Ooh.
Come find it tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay. Oh, okay. All right, thank you so much.
We'll let Valkor do his own artwork on this one.
I understand.
And he begins to hum a bit of a tune, and takes out a pouch, and it looks like he sprinkles almost a whole handful of sea salt into this tide pool that he has. He begins humming softly to himself.
All right.
And you make your way up, rejoin the group.
No.
Um,
I'm gonna come skipping back up.
Skipping up, you see the Water Genasi happily rejoining all of you.
Prion
It is
remembers that he does
morning.
speak Akon.
Oh, you do speak Akon.
I don't. Technically, he and I both do.
And the sun is now risen high enough that it's beginning to cut through the fog. You felt you were further from Saltmarsh, but now from here, if you got on top of the hill, you can actually see all the way down the coastline to the town and the river delta upon which it's built.
Well, let's get paid, shall we?
I suggested earlier that perhaps we make our way to Prime Water first, since it's probably best to get that tied up before we go alert the man who paid us, and he might then go check it out, and then that might get complicated, you know.
That sounds delightful. As I say, when in Saltmarsh, do what won't get you stabbed.
DM, given my background, would I know where to find him at this time of day?
Who's tippity tapping?
So, yes, I am. I'm tippity tappity sending messages. So
many secrets.
As part of your background, it would be unlikely that you would oftentimes deal directly with him. You know of what he does, but he keeps himself at arm's length. If you were to try, you could probably get within a degree or get at a meeting where he's also there. But that would take a lot of influence and be at a great personal risk if you were to try to arrange that. Just because, but you would know, having been to Saltmarsh, the best place to find Gellin Primewater on a neat sort of workday is on a balcony high above his home, looking over his personal docks, yelling at his employees to do things better as they're loading, unloading, and such. He is a micromanager.
So beyond just going straight for the man himself, I do at least know how to arrange an audience with him.
Yeah, so I was thinking with speaking around some of these character secrets.
No, it's okay.
In the context of what you know about Gellin Primewater, that would be dangerous. But you know where his house is. You know he's home. You could probably ask or
that's
just see what would happen. You know.
Then I'm just gonna make a beeline for his house then. And
Mariah?
Yes, I just was thinking that.
Be careful.
I feel like you said cough cough last week. That you didn't want to go to his house?
No. I need to stay away from him, I think,
That
for a
is
while. But
entirely understandable.
do mention that I helped.
Yes, of course, my dear. Valentine.
Yes.
Can I sort of can you make sure that she's okay for me, please?
Oh, you'd like me to keep an eye on Nether?
Yeah. You seem like a responsible fellow.
Well, I'm glad I seem that way. I'd be happy.
Thank you. And whoever wants to come with me can come with me.
Sure.
With you? Why not?
Rayan,
Why not?
does she observe Mariah beginning to go off on this journey?
Yeah, so I think everyone is heading towards the city.
Okay. So she is beginning to feel as though Mariah is kind of the one in charge. And so she runs up.
Okay.
She could be wrong. She's very green, but she runs up alongside Mariah and asks where they're going. What sort of quest are they setting out on? What's going on?
More of a return from a quest, if that's the way you want to put it. That's so, I don't know, that makes it seem shinier than it actually was. No, we got rid of some ugliness at a house up the cliff a ways. Some undead
What
things,
ugliness?
some skeletons, some
Ghosts,
people
bandits.
Oh,
who like to kill other people randomly when you walk into their space. I don't
You're
know.
with me, Valentine.
Oh, that's fine.
oh,
Crap. Where's Heather? Heather,
Pay attention.
bell on that kid.
Yes. Well, yes. I've only just between you and I've only heard about these things in books, and part of she's beginning to get a little overwhelmed. She's never been above the waves, and so she says, "I'm sorry. She lowers her voice. It's my first time on the surface, and I meant to do things that will help prepare me to become a good leader in battle. But we live in thankfully, thanks to Persona, a time in which there has been very little battles. But is there anything I can do to help?
Can you fight?
I'm trained to fight. Yes.
Good. You're in.
Can you place yourself between danger and people who are much more likely to explode in the presence of said danger than you?
Explode.
That's turn of phrase, don't worry about it. Be shot, slashed, killed.
Oh, be
bloodied.
killed.
Protect the
I
cat,
see.
in other words. The cat. Up and down like a yo-yo.
Oh, the large feline.
Yes.
I see. Yes. This would be part of. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. She's trying to regather herself. She's realizing she is acting. You can see an even more intense shade of coral appear along her cheeks and on her neck. She's getting blotchy. She's very anxious.
One more thing. Try not to die.
That's all she says.
Talise is our healer when she wants to be. I'll give her.
Sometimes.
Yes. Oh, and Talise has rejoined the group at this point.
Yeah.
I would love to. I would love to hear your thoughts about the temple at some point.
I'm sure you would.
That's not
Yes,
freaky.
I would.
Yes.
She continues to walk.
Well,
Wow.
I put an arm around her shoulder and I'm like sort of taking pity on like the poor little not actually green girl. And it's like, we're gonna get you hooked up. You
Hooked
need
up?
a drink.
Hooked up.
Oh gosh, no.
Oh, I must have misunderstood. What? Hooked up?
You had it right.
Do you have bars underwater?
Bars as steel bars.
Prisons. Aye.
Prison.
No.
You're going to
No.
imprison me? She begins to
wants-
draw.
She wants to get drunk. She wants to have a drink with you. That's what she's saying.
Do you know what alcohol is?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Sheathes her sword.
You haven't met Inaris yet. She's our diplomat.
Who's a diplomat?
Inaris there.
No, it's fine. She's fine. You're fine.
I'm fine. Yes, let's go get a drink then.
Drinks come after work, but
Work first, then drinks.
yeah.
She writes it down.
Not that I've ever adhered to that a day of my life, but onward.
What are we doing?
Onward.
Cool. So it sounds like you guys are separating.
Fail.
Saltmarsh is the same way for all of you, but it seems like Nether and Long Tom are in a bit of a hurry to get somewhere else. Is that what I'm hearing?
Of course.
Can I go
Well,
with
it's
that?
not so much a hurry. She just doesn't want to. She doesn't like to be out in the day.
Okay.
I want to go with them. They're the cool kids.
Fucking rude.
Elise has FOMO, okay? Hardcore FOMO.
Sarayan doesn't even know what a cool kid is.
Us. We are the cool
Wait,
kids.
wait.
No.
Are you just playing like the version of yourself that you remember from high school, from what you've described to us?
Me, personally? No, if it were that, Sarayan would be crying all the time. Oh no! There was a lot of journaling, though. Yeah, like in public, just to show how deep I was. You know what I mean?
Only laughing because I did that in middle school. Oh man.
You feel me?
No.
Valentine.
Yes, Nether.
So, no one's really explained this, but based on what they've said, are you some kind of cat person?
Well, isn't that obvious?
Not to me.
Oh, sorry. That's apologies. Yes, I am a tabaxi.
Do you have fur?
Oh, absolutely. Would you like to feel?
May I?
Of course.
She stops
And
reaches out a hand until...
Yeah. And so Valentine extends his hand so that Nether can touch the top of his paw.
Does it bother you when people call you cat or assume that you'll act a certain way or do a certain thing because all cats are alike?
If I was bothered by every ignorant person in Faerun, I wouldn't get out of bed. Does it bother you when people call you, what was it? Scratch or Scritch or...
Scrapes.
Scrapes, that's the one. Not a very appealing name.
Well, if it stopped at the name calling, I think I'd be alright with it.
Ah. Yes, the world can be quite cruel to those who are different, can it not?
I'd leave. But I know it so well, it's hard to imagine fitting in anywhere else. And I do have a place here, of a sort. And I really don't need looking after, so if you want to go anywhere else, you can.
Oh, are you kidding?
Not to be rude, but...
No, it's not that I'm here to look after you. I'm actually quite intrigued by you. Nether, are you... This may be an indelicate question, but are you Fae?
No. No, my heritage, I would think, is pretty obvious.
Well, I know, of course. When you, back in the mansion, you, there was a moment, and also, you were struggling in your sleep, and I put my paw on you to try to soothe you a little bit, and you, well, it was quite extraordinary what you did. You flared up like a banshee, and I've only ever seen that once before in the wilds. And so I was just curious, as cats are. So.
Well, that's a bit embarrassing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to offend.
It's all right. It just occurred to me that I don't think I've ever had anybody watch me while I sleep before. Sort of comforting and disconcerting at the same time. Usually I'm just resting, listening to the water and the people right over here. Sharkfin Bridge.
Your...
Well, it's where they let me stay. Although, I guess... Do you see anyone around? Like...
I mean, I see lots
maybe guarding it or trying to...
Oh.
I was told that I wasn't allowed to be there anymore, but maybe they've forgotten.
Do I?
Make a perception check.
Sure can and will. A 26 for my perception.
6. Wow.
Now.
So you see
Wow.
no sign of any town guard besides the regulars that are patrolling, though you do notice as you're crossing the shark fin bridge, which is this really large bridge in Saltmarsh crossing the delta of the river that flows through the center of town. There are shops and even homes built upon its sides. And as you're going across, you notice that there's a group of sort of salty folk leaning against a railing on the river side of the Empty Net, which you've passed before and know is a tavern, the most run-down and seedy tavern in Saltmarsh. It is a very rough place. In fact, the last time you passed it, there were some goings-on, and even though it was just barely the afternoon, you saw two figures leaning over the railings and sort of retching their drunken breakfast into the river. This time, though, there are 4 sitting there in leathers. One of them has tattoos, black tattoos running up and down her arm. 2 portly men with leather vests just kind of hanging open. And one of them is leaning against the wall, picking his teeth with a dagger. Another one leaning over the front of the wood railing, and they seem to be watching Nether intently. And you by proxy.
Well, in terms of guards, nothing seems amiss. There's the usual sort of patrols. However, there seems to be a rather unfortunate group that gathers. A woman with some tattoos on her arms and a fellow who apparently longs for a toothpick and has a dagger instead, and all wearing leathers. Sound, or I guess, smell familiar to you or anything of the sort?
Does it, DM?
So that description kind of sounds like a lot of the people that you would expect in Saltmarsh. Specifically, you're not sure, but there is...
know their names, but I know their type.
Yeah.
And are these the type that look to tussle?
They're the type that I try not to be out during the day because of.
Well, so clearly, Nether, as I've seen you just rip people apart with your magic, you don't need a babysitter. And so...
Well, I can't really use it in town. They'd be at the stake or something.
No. Just pause a moment. If you give me a chance, I would much rather hang out with you and spend the time rather than roam about the city getting gawked at. At least the two of us will get gawked at together.
Well, that's appreciated. You might be in for a rougher time than you anticipate.
Oh, I hope so.
All right, then. I just need to... I don't have to be here long. I just need to... I need to spend some time under the bridge, just for a little while.
Of course. Would you like me to accompany you or stay nearby?
You can go where you want. If you accompany me, it might get a little bruised.
Bruised? Will I get wet?
Well, it is Saltmarsh. If you didn't want to get wet, you probably shouldn't have come. But I thought it was the bird that didn't like the water.
Oh, no, of course. Absolutely. It's the bird. I ask for her sake. She's very particular. Very well, then.
I love the water.
I think that's the first time I've heard you say you love something.
It's very comforting.
So are you guys heading down towards Nether's little spot under the bridge, both of you?
That's where Nether wants to go. She probably has a couple of pathways that she's familiar with, that she knows that I go this way, I can climb down, these rocks will be here, there's a plank right here, and I can avoid this there and get to the spot. So she'll just take her normal path, unless there's something to impede her.
So as you come around and as Valentine, you're kind of following. Nether, you get a whiff suddenly of stale rum and onion. Valentine, you see that the overlook from the empty net is empty. And coming around the corner are these figures in leather. There's a woman with long, spindly arms who just crosses her arms and leans against the building, while two portly men, smelling sour and salty, start to walk about, and one of them says, "Here's the hooves, here's the tail, mutant girl has rats for sale. Sister scrapes, demon's daughter, child of hate." Aren't you burning up in the sunlight, Scrapes? Ugly thing.
Just looking for a place to be out of everyone's way.
That was very impressive. I'm surprised you could put that many syllables together. Well done.
Valentine.
What? It's a good song. You should write it down. Oh, of course, assuming he can write.
And who's your little monster friend here?
Monster? Where? I only smell onions.
Oh, he's a smart one. You stay away from this one, you hear?
Oh, aye. I saw her turn a man to jelly. Looked a bit like you.
Nether sort of puts her hand in her hand. Like,
Are you, are you actually trying to convince him of this, or just an offhand remark?
Oh, no, it was terrifying. His eyes burst from his skull and went screaming down his face as the last words out of his mouth was, "Mom!" He melted into the floor.
Make an intimidation check.
I'm going to make one too.
Damn.
No, I mean, inside, see if I can resist.
Wait, resist intimidation? All right, so are you assisting Nether or no?
Nether is trying very hard to. She's very strongly contemplating using a minor illusion to create something to hide in.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to use my inspiration to do this intimidation check. Oh, okay, a 10 on that one, so probably not enough to do anything worthwhile.
With the 10, one kind of... Well, she's certainly dangerous, but... Not like that, I don't think. Not quite. Just spreads that filth and disease. Leads our children astray. One of them will be jumping off the bridge any day now, right, sister? He kind of cracks his knuckles, looking at you, Valentine, threateningly. They both kind of start to take slow steps forward.
Look, I just want to get a few things, and I'll be on my way.
Well, that's...
I'm not supposed to be here anymore.
That's so. One of those big heads finally got some sense in him, huh?
But I thought that's who sent you.
Well, that's good. Everyone's eyes are open. Find your friends while you can, Nether. That's right, Scrapes. We know your name, too. Stick to him and find a place to go with them. This town doesn't want you anymore. And you watch yourself, fur boy. They kind of look over their shoulders. Saying, alley, if you find yourself an alley cat, well, best keep your eyes in the corners. They go, yeah, because we'll get you. And then they kind of turn around. start to walk
And Talise
away.
is right behind them. Ha ha.
Nether, this is
I did go with them.
This is
I bet the cow they're wearing is just dying of shame.
Oh yes.
All right. Oh dear God, Talise, hello.
Hi.
You were saying,
What was-
DM, sorry.
this is a group that you know of.
Okay.
They are mostly sailors who have at one point held various jobs, are sometimes called upon to do this or that when the fleets are shorthanded, but are mostly layabouts. Some of them served as sailors and were actually pressed into service for a while. They have enough money to drink away the day, and that's about it. When they wake up empty-pocketed, they sort of lub about the docks, look for a little bit of work so they can keep drinking. And they are terrible to you.
And that is why I only come out at night. Are they leaving?
They do leave at that point. It is daylight now, and they, in this particular area, if they were to start causing trouble, there are enough people, enough guards that it would be stupid to start a brawl here at this very spot during the daylight. If you've been somewhere else, might be a different story. But
So, once the way is clear, Nether moves down underneath the bridge to her little cubby, where there are a few things that she might have left. Just maybe some food, some things in bags. There's a pile of rags that she sleeps on. But as she walks in, there's a little area where there are ferns and some katydids right there next to where the bridge meets the water. And walking by, you could swear that they all kind of bend towards her as she moves past them. She doesn't really notice. And she goes in, and you also kind of get a sense as she moves close to it. It's almost like there's a little bit of a sort of a scary addiction feel to it. As she gets close to it, she sort of sighs, and she says, "I'm sorry I was away. Hi. I missed you. I'll be back tonight." And that's all.
Is it possible for both for Valentine or Long Tom? No, that makes sense. Valentine or Talise to follow Nether down to her spot, or is it like a little tiny? Is it too small for?
It's cramped. I mean, like one person, you would have to wait for her to come out before you could go in, but you could certainly follow to the entrance.
Okay. And so from the entrance, will we have seen this sort of exchange between you and the
I
flowers?
don't know, I probably would have tried to keep it quiet or keep it, it would be a little weird if she was like just talking to nobody. But I don't know, it depends on how observant you are.
what's your passive perception, Valentine?
Passive perception for Valentine is 17.
I would say you probably heard her mumbling, though what the content is.
Yeah.
You weren't quite sure. And at this point, Talise also rejoins you guys. Unaware of the onions, oil, and bad breath that just happened earlier.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so
Talise
I
just
decided I
gather
was
some
gonna.
things and
I just wanted to come and spend time with you guys, because that thing, she doesn't seem like that much fun to be around. I'd rather be with you guys, and not her group for right now. Yeah.
So glad.
you got a bad impression? Did she do something or say something?
She seems a bit green around the blue gills, if I have to ask.
Yeah, she's not what I was expecting from the stories that I'd been told.
Stories
growing
about
about.
She's a Triton.
She's very beautiful and very striking, and I'd heard about people like creatures like her doing their pilgrimage to different Valkor temples. And I got really excited when I first saw her, and she's really not very pleasant and
Well, maybe she's just sheltered. You know, like
sheltered.
yeah, like school of fish homeschooled. You know, that sort of thing going on. You know. No?
Yeah, I don't need to be around that. I mean, I love Anaris. She's so much fun, but it's that's pretty much it. You know,
No,
I-
of course,
I
of course. It's
can't
all about
handle
you. No,
anything
that
else.
makes sense. Yes, great. All right. So Nether, who are you talking to?
No one.
Was she talking?
Just happy to be home.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard. I must have been hearing things. It's all right.
It's echoey down here.
Yeah, no, of course. Water bridge things. So, where in this bustling onion stink town can we go for a good time, I guess? Since are we trying to avoid Prime Water's house? You didn't seem too keen to go.
It's a bit about the same sort of situation I'm in with everybody. I have to be very careful about who sees me.
I see.
Sometimes if they're really busy, they forget that they don't like me. And if they've got nothing better to do, like those people we just saw, they tend to give me trouble. They're though I serve an important purpose.
Of course.
The rat catching is not a job that everybody wants, and it needs to be done. So, the people who need it done know that I should be left alone, but it doesn't mean that they can't yell or make my life difficult. But, really, if you want to go and have a good time, you should do it without me. I'm not gonna be of any help there. But I can tell you where to go.
What?
But
I just
Nether,
want...
well, Nether, you are fun.
That's nice of you to say.
I mean it. I'm not that nice, so I mean it.
Well, still, I don't want anyone. I'll be fine.
Well, now, Mariah said that we should look after each other, and so here we are. So what do you do to pass the days?
Well, I sleep.
Fun.
And I think.
Neat.
And I try to listen to any kind of music that I can find.
Where's their music?
Well, there's music in all of the taverns. It depends on what you're looking for. If you want really good music, you should go to the Snapping Line, maybe? Or maybe even the Wicker Goat.
Well then, would you...
The Empty Net. If you're looking for really dirty jokes, that's a good place to go. But Mariah and other bards, they often play at the Wicker Goat. The owner there, Lankis, is a good people.
So, where does Mariah expect to meet you?
Probably here.
Probably here.
Okay.
Well, Talise, what do you think? Dirty jokes, good music. What'll tickle your gills?
I don't have gills.
I don't know that.
If you like that claw wine, that's at the
Oh
Snapping
no.
Line.
No.
Oh, it's
Okay.
so good.
It was really good. Well, I didn't get to try
I mean,
it.
You should.
I will try some Nether if you come with us.
Yes. What if I take off my cloak? You can put it over your
God.
head.
Oh God.
And then what? It's just a cloak. What? Oh, it is covered in cat hair. Just heads up. But
Well, give me a moment here, and I'll see.
All right.
So while go down, they leave me alone. You leave me alone?
I do.
You said to leave you alone.
Yeah.
Right. So while they leave me alone, I will sit for about half an hour or so, just being at peace here under the bridge, and I will choose my eldritch evocations. And when I step out, I will join them. And I will warn you, This could go very badly.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, I'm ready.
That's half the fun when it goes bad.
All right. Snapping line then?
Snappy
Sure.
line.
In the meantime, Inaris, Sarayan, Mariah, and Prion, what had you hoped to do on your immediately getting back into town?
Well, walk right up to Galen Primewater's front door and have a knock.
Okay. As you are walking up, sort of as I will see if I can find this here. Thought I had it labeled on the map. No matter. As I said before, Prime Water Manor, easily the largest house in town.
God, I love it.
Almost its own little turret. It is also, though it's a little awkward at times, it seems like it's been frequently added onto. There is also a balcony with a little window that opens where you have in fact seen before Galen Prime Water leaning against the sill and yelling down to people. Currently, the shutters are closed. And as you all are approaching the house, you see the door open and a familiar figure step out and reading a note, which he then folds and puts back into his breast pocket. Scaren the Waves Chaser is exiting Prime Water Manor and turns and looks towards all of you, narrows his eyes. Back already. And most of you still alive, it seems.
This was the butler, right?
Yes. Anders Solmore's butler.
Yes. No one died. Love it when that happens.
And where are the others in that case?
They had some personal business to attend to, as do I. But we were planning to roll our way back towards you, in a jiffy here.
I see. You have business with Prime Water too?
Yeah.
I see. I'll remind you that my master was very generous with you.
Oh, your master was incredibly generous, and we have seen that deal through to the end. Like I said, this is more of a personal concern. I come in and out of town, and, need to make sure that affairs are in order.
Make a deception check.
Meanwhile, Sarayan is covertly
13.
taking notes over things that she doesn't understand.
His eyes narrow, and for a moment, change. He's always been sharp and disinterested, but his eyes flash for a moment, and that sharpness becomes razor-like as he looks at you, and then the interest sort of fades, and he clears his throat, and the disinterested butler returns, and he says, "Well, do make haste. We are waiting to hear from you."
Absolutely.
And he continues on his way.
Once he's firmly out of earshot, and I'm like, wow, that guy.
I hope to keep the deal with these guys, though.
Well,
I don't want to betray them.
We're not betraying them. I've said this multiple times. We're just covering our asses here.
I'm sorry, asses?
Your backside.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not in, literal
Wait,
and figurative
betrayal?
concepts.
Yeah.
Have you filled it? Have you filled her in by this?
Apparently
No.
not.
No.
Apparently not.
Are you
Why would
good
we?
Burp.
Yeah.
I think that what we will have told her is sort of the basics of what we encountered and what our purpose at the house was.
to rid it of evil?
Aye, that we did.
Yes,
There were some
and
other matters.
we found some goods within that belong to the guy who lives here. And
Okay,
we
so
just
we've
wanna
given him back
check-
those goods.
We planned
They're
to, aye.
too much for us to carry.
So we gave them back.
That's the plan. That's why we're here.
Checking it. Yeah.
I see. Okay. For a second, I thought that you weren't honest people.
Oh no.
Oh,
I'm
this
honest.
is gonna be a great time. All right. So, da, 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 da.
Elena and Peter, your mics are slightly low.
Are they?
Yeah, I don't know what
Right.
changed. So the door opens, and what you assume is a servant emerges, looking towards you. A well-dressed man, in fine clothes. He says, "Can I help you?"
Hey, my name is Mariah Nairdress. These are my compatriots. I've not worked directly with Prime Water before, but we run in similar circles. I actually have a concern to bring to him today. We think we've encountered some of his property in a place where it doesn't belong, and we just want to make sure it gets returned. To its rightful owner.
He kind of looks behind you and looks around. "Please do come in."
Thank you.
And ushers you inside a grand home.
Ah, shit.
I look to Inaris and go,
The entryway is indeed lined with some marble columns, as much as can fit in here. The opulence does not exceed the humbleness of Saltmarsh itself, but seems to perfectly fit the role of the nicest building in Saltmarsh. The outside is ramshackle at times, but it is also right by the coast. The inside bears no such hint of chaos. It is pristine. The marble floors shine and reflect the daylight coming through stained glass windows and the candlelight alike. You are waiting for a moment as servants come and go, talking in a hushed manner, and then emerging, sweeping down a staircase, is the form of Gellin Primewater himself.
looks like Peter.
A tall, thin man with a beautifully manicured beard, long hair tucked behind him, dressed in finery, more suited to Neverwinter or Baldur's Gate than here. Now this is an unexpected surprise. Mariah, is it?
Yes, indeed.
So I've been
what's
told.
the appropriate title in this case? By the way,
Probably Councilman Primewater.
Councilman Primewater. Okay. Thank you so much for inviting us into your home, Councilman.
Well, yes, it's the least I can do for those bringing news of my stolen goods.
Yes, indeed. We were tasked to clear a house at the behest of. Fill in the blank while Elena's brain rushes to catch up. Ah!
Anders Solmor?
Anders
Thank you.
Solmor.
Your compatriot, Anders Solmorn, he was concerned about dangers at the house about 2 miles north of here along the cliff. And we encountered quite a few dangers that we dealt with, as one should when one gets attacked. But we were surprised to find a number of goods that bore your seal. And
I mean, there are only so many of us. We couldn't lug them all back to town ourselves. I figured it would be best before anything else was done and anyone else informed to alert the appropriate individuals.
So kind of you. So upright.
I am trying to read everything that
Please. Who am I? Excuse my rudeness. Would you like something to eat or drink?
I think we need to go on our way fairly quickly here, but I appreciate your hospitality. Perhaps another time would be better for social endeavors.
Oh, please.
I would
In
be
fact-
interested in a drink.
Lovely. Could I invite you up to the drawing room?
I would love to see your drawing room. You have a beautiful home. I'm Soraya Aronoff.
Oh boy, is my reaction.
He kind of does a double take and says, honored to have your presence here.
Your home is truly, it's beautiful. The marble is exquisite.
I'm pleased you think so.
I'm like mildly triggered by how like proper she is.
Triton, what tidings do you bring?
Only tidings of peace.
He relaxes a bit and says, good. That's good. Now, please. And he gestures towards a drawing room. It's actually up a few stairs. It's almost closer to what you would call a study. It is the furnishings are not quite as opulent, but it is comfortable here. Whereas before, the scale of the building, the make and the materials that is made of made you almost compelled to speak in a whisper for fear of intruding upon whatever Prime Water Manor is. This place invites you in comfortably. You feel like you could speak here without being listened to. It is quite comfortable. And as he ushers you in, he says, he just speaks aloud, saying, please, some olives, some wine, a bit of bread, and then cheese.
Thank you very much.
He doesn't see it to anyone in particular, it seems like. But sure enough, moments later, 2 bottles of wine on a platter are brought with a beautiful, crusty, warm bread from the hearth and an assortment of olives and cheeses that is laid out in front of you.
Not to be distasteful in any way, but I'm here on my pilgrimage, and how I've never experienced such delicacies. How does one enjoy these foods?
Put them in your mouth.
You put them in your mouth. Hi.
She very clearly directs the question to their host, ignoring the other two.
He kind of raises an eyebrow at you. He's very amused by this. Takes up a little corner of bread. Puts a piece of cheese on top of it. And then eats. And
It's a 3-step process.
She's never had cheese before. The coating of her tongue is not something she was ready for.
It is different. Now, if you'll pardon me, the young Anders asked you to investigate the house, yes?
And remove any potential threats within.
And what threats did you find?
We encountered a number of undead creatures, and we encountered a number of living. And since they attacked us upon sight, we categorized that as a threat.
Well, as is your right.
Does he look
So
like he's
you
being difficult?
disposed of all of them?
Indeed.
And
Oh, there
Then-
was that fellow who was tied up upstairs. I think he was left to go on his own. That's right, Prion?
Aye, we let him
So
go.
you rescued someone.
So it goes.
So it goes. And you rescued my property.
Or at least put it away so that no one else would run off with it.
You see, my property is very valuable to me. But so is how people perceive me. The confidence that Gellin Prime Water's goods do not simply go missing. It's very embarrassing. Now, if you were to simply report to Anders and say that, sure, there were bandits sneaking in this house and it was cleared, and he can be the hero, whatever reason he wants that house cleared, and that was done, then fine. That's great. I will make it worth your while if you conceal the fact that these barbarous thugs were able to get their hands on my property.
I understand you want to save face. If that's how Prion is perceiving it, but can I insight check him?
Sure.
His face looks fine, Prion.
What?
You have quite a handsome face.
You're talking
Very
about
kind of
Prion
you.
or oh, what?
Serain.
Hang on, I need to reload.
You're fine.
20 and stuff.
I certainly mean to do no harm to your reputation. You do a lot of good for the town and for, well, those who seek their fortune.
12.
Everything that he does, Prion, is a face. It's very affected, but you don't find any crack in the facade to look through. It's all the performance. So he could be completely lying or completely telling the truth, but it'd be hard to say which was which.
Okay.
Now, Moriah, what was the last thing you said to him?
I said, shoot, what did I say? Something about his reputation. Oh, like respecting his reputation, and he does a lot of good for the town and for those who seek their fortune.
Yes, it's good to be employed. Yes, and
Oh, we are
there's
looking for work.
plenty of opportunity here if others would just leave it well enough alone, right?
So how much are you going to pay us?
Nay, straight and to the point.
Well, that depends on what you tell Anders Solmore and if you return to him at all.
I won't tell him anything depending on the amount of gold I receive.
Ah,
Serain is aghast.
a businesswoman.
I think that the people that we travel with would feel better if we tied off the loose end. Report back, let him know that the danger has passed. But there's no reason to inform him about your goods.
So you think that the house and whatever was associated with it is no longer a threat?
Anything that was within its walls at the time.
Right, but you think you've taken care of the entirety of the problem?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, who knows? There was a boat there. So who knows?
What's there now?
Aye, there was.
How large of a boat?
Enough to get 8 of us in.
Right. So enough to shuttle some goods up and down the coast, but...
Aye.
Yeah. Thereabouts.
I see.
Inside check.
Sure, go ahead.
Jade knows he's dodgy, but Prion is stupid.
I don't care that he's dodgy.
Serain is just feeling right at home.
All that Prion cares at is that he's doing the honourable thing, and he can understand that he wants to save face. He understands that embarrassment, so that's how he's perceiving it. He's not seeing it as in he's the ringleader, if he is.
Why is it not? Okay, it's not. Wait, maybe it will. It's a 9.
And
but...
as you're kind of studying him, he says, Mariah, on your many fantastic voyages, have you ever hauled any sort of
cargo akin to what I deal in.
I've
Of course, paying your due tariffs, stopping in the required
absolutely.
ports, and Neverwinter, etc.
I was my first venture out onto the sea as a young woman was on a merchant vessel. Traveled first with my mother as a youngster, get to know the ocean a little bit more, but I'm well versed with the comings and goings of goods on the Shore Coast.
So, the boat you found, would that be enough to ferry these goods to a potential buyer? Or were these heathens simply incompetent in their theft of my goods?
DM, I seem to recall that you said this boat was not large enough
That's correct.
for the totality.
Well, it would, even as much as you loaded, would not get you as far as another city very easily.
Right.
This is basically, it was basically a dinghy. Had a small
Right.
sail. It could maybe go a few miles with it, but its purpose is to
Go to a bigger boat.
serve
To
a
go
large-
to a larger boat. So then, just to be clear, he's asking whether
He seems to be
yeah.
pressing, knowing you say the threat is over. And
Right.
in Neris, that's where your insight is. He knows more than he's letting on. He may be pressing a little too hard in this moment, but it's clear that he is trying to manipulate this conversation and find out the totality of what you know and what you might guess based on what you've found.
Yeah. My brain is not moving fast enough for this. If we were properly equipped, we could move the totality of the goods. It would require a certain degree of going back and forth from the shore. And I would not want to do so without appropriately signaling my allies and making sure they understand what's coming for them.
I guess I'm not following that statement.
I'm just basically like, I'm throwing in the thing about the lantern signal as Jen just
gotcha.
dropping it. But, you know, so, and also noting like we would need a bigger boat.
Right, gotcha.
Not pick that.
Indeed. So, your thought is there's something far more dangerous out there.
Out there?
Hey, the big
Perhaps.
boat, like I said.
Understood. Well, that is disturbing news indeed. Gellin, I myself will have to bring this to the council. This is a more dangerous plot than was initially let on. Good of Anders to stumble upon this, but now it's time for the adults to handle things. I'm certain we'll need to call you to testify. I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Not at all.
Enough gold in my hand.
I'm sure we will compensate you properly for what comes next.
So to be clear, you're okay with us reporting back to Anders and letting him know that the job that he asked us to do is done.
Well, of course. And then the
And,
contract with him is up, and you can work with me instead.
I see no problem with that.
But he,
And
he
by
pays
the way,
well, though.
I wanted to mention that while the four of us are present here, there are several in our company who contributed to this endeavor, who were instrumental in making sure that we made it out alive and were successful. And you may know, for instance, Nether, or as she is somewhat colloquially called, Sister Scrapes. She saved us several times and is worth an investment.
So she's capable.
Very.
She is growing into her heritage, one might say.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Oh, you're smart, dear.
She's growing up.
Indeed.
And as all children do, they learn new skills that they can share with those around them.
I understand what you're getting at. Good. Very well. Take your rests. I will see to it that your rooms are paid for. Which inn would you prefer?
The most expensive.
What was
The snapping line it is.
the snapping line? Yep.
I'm going to need to assemble the council at once to hear about this news. A ship full of dreadful brigands prowling our shores. This isn't good at all. Will have to be dealt with. Please,
Terrifying.
make your stay close. We'll be sending for you shortly. And he sort of gets up. You'll be shown out.
What do you want us to do with your gear?
What?
What do you want us to do with your gear?
Oh, I can handle that.
Good to hear.
You'll need this, and I give him the key to the room where we moved everything to.
He kind of reaches out and then smiles and says, "You hang on to that.
Certainly.
I have a plan."
I'm sure it will be a wonderful one.
Is it a cunning plan?
We will take a quick break here. We are going to resume as you guys are in the tavern. You now will be able to share to your comrades. You will be called before the Saltmarsh Council to talk about what's going on here, and with it now being revealed that there is something larger afoot than simply a few people in a basement. They want to hear about it, and they want to hear it from you immediately. We can pick up right there at the tavern when we get back. First part of the session here, we got to know a new player, or character rather, Sarayan.
She's weird.
Aranoth, the Triton, has caused a bit of a stir as Tritons coming all the way into land, especially one with the heraldry of the Triton kingdom itself is often seen as an ill omen, tidings of war and such. But as she has assured them, it is just a rite of passage. And she is here to stay for a while to learn of the surface world. She is now united with the rest of the party, who have reconvened at the lovely Snapping Line, a charming little inn and tavern in Saltmarsh. The party visited. What's up?
Inn and tavern. That's all.
Inn and tavern.
It made me happy. I'm sorry.
The party also visited one Gellin Primewater, informing them that they found a large cache of his goods in what appeared to be a smuggler's hideout. He said he would need to summon the council immediately to take care of this threat, knowing that there is something larger likely afoot here in Saltmarsh. So, the rest of you gather at the Snapping Line. Is there anything you would like to do? You know a messenger is at hand.
Weren't we meant to go to Saltmarsh?
It's up to you.
We should... yes, no, maybe, officer. What do y'all think?
Valentine, you should have one of the glasses of wine.
Oh, most definitely I do, yes.
Hey.
Could you get me one too? Please.
What is wine?
Delicious.
Everybody sort of looks at you like,
It's delicious? Is it a delicacy of the
I will buy her a
It
glass
is
of wine.
fermentation of fruit derived into alcohol.
Interesting.
In this case,
Look, like this case, it's not fruit though.
this is called claw wine.
Yeah.
And it's actually used some of the byproducts of shellfish is used and fermented into a drink, along with, you think, likely some type of fermentable sugars as well. But it has this odd taste. It is briny, but there is this sort of umami flavor from the shellfish and an unmistakable sort of lobster claw taste to it as well. It is certainly an acquired taste, but think it almost has sort of a sherry-like oxidation to it that's kind of nice as well. So
Love
reminds
it
you
when
of
we
like
have an
a
actual
manzanilla.
alcohol expert describing the alcohol. That's great.
Yeah, it reminds you of like a
Saran loves
manzanilla
it.
fina a little bit in its brininess.
Okay. Okay.
And racism aside, I would think that the tabaxi really likes it.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah, it definitely sounds like a Monte de Cristo to me too. It's delicious.
Oh boy.
Yes, lawful stupid mug, you better.
So, are you guys just waiting to be summoned, or are you going to talk to your...
We should probably go get paid.
I agree.
Yeah, so how did things
Wait, I
go?
thought I was drinking.
How did things go?
We
with
can do
Prime
both.
Water? Is that
We stop back for a quick drink, down it, and then we'll get right back out there.
Down it. We don't down. We drink. We savor. We experience.
There's a time and a place for savoring and experiences. And then there's a time and a place for getting completely wasted and having a great time. We're going to have to teach you some colloquialisms.
Okay, fair enough.
to be wasted is to drink too much?
Drink too much alcohol.
Alcohol.
Yes.
Ah. Okay. Scribbles furiously.
Yeah.
To brine water? Prime?
Anders Solmorn.
Solmor, that's right.
Solmor.
As we're walking over, I'll sort of hang back with Nether and say, "Did you have a good time under the bridge?"
I did what I needed to do.
You're still Sean.
Oh, still Sean. I can't have that.
Sean did what he needed to do.
I did what I needed to do. Interesting folk we've got involved with here.
Yeah. There's a lot of different
Triton?
flavors. Yeah. Liz, you've got like blue skin and stuff, right? Or no, you're coral. You're coral.
I'm a light coral.
Yes, that's what it is.
I only because before I found my sorry to like tell you my trade secrets, but before I found my crown, when I found my crown, I wanted it to be this color, but then I thought it was too similar to my other character in Descent. So
gotcha.
But I'm gonna keep wearing this. Sorry, it doesn't match what I said.
That's all right.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean she's all corally and everything. It's a little odd. I don't think I've seen a Triton since I was 4, 5, something like that.
I've only heard of them in stories. But, I mean, this is all done now, right? We did the chore for Anders, and
we did.
Gotten Prime Water his stuff back, and it'll all go back to normal now.
I unfortunately the bearer of bad news in that regard. Prime Water is summoning the council.
Why is that bad news?
Because it means that it's not over and done with. I don't necessarily think it's bad. I think that it'll, well, fingers crossed, be rather straightforward, but it means that there's going to be more activity. You know.
All right, well, I'll just stay in the back.
Yeah. I did mention that you were very, 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 very helpful.
Did you use all those berries? Because that makes me sound stupid.
She did. I was there.
I don't think I used quite that many. I was feeling rather exuberant at the time, I'm sorry.
It was at least 5.
Well, it's... At least, as long as he knows I'm not a threat.
No. I pressed home the idea that you were growing into your own and had many skills that could be very, very useful.
Very, 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 very useful.
I suppose we still need to have that conversation.
I was going to say, I did want to ask you, how you came about some of those skills, but we can talk about that later.
All right.
To
about this
Solmorn!
time you are nearing the Solmore Manor. You are led inside and immediately recognized, and soon joined by none other than the bright, smiling, eager face of Anders Solmore.
Just let your soul mourn.
So, Sarayan, the young, exuberant man that enters, can't be more than 17 or 18. He is, and a young 17 or 18. He has a bright, charming smile, but always following him is this butler that your companions will identify as Scarin Wave Chaser, who seems to be advising him at his every turn, really. And so he will come in after you're seated. Wow! So it was haunted, but that wasn't the real threat. Is that what I'm hearing?
There were 2 threats.
2 threats? It was even more dangerous than I thought.
Yeah.
I mean,
know.
ghosts are one thing, but smugglers?
Oh yeah,
Those
they're totally
rapscallions,
horrible.
man, they're awful. Just terrible people. I mean, that's worse than ghosts, smugglers.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, the ghost had a phantom beard.
A what?
A beard. A phantom beard.
It was made out of arcane energies that sort of seemed to coalesce upon his chin.
Wow.
It's Owen Wilson.
You know, so that's, but you're wrong though about like if it was just undead, they would have just haunted the house and been fine. But smugglers kill people. They raid and murder places. It is not, they're bad people. So it's good that you took care of them. They got what they deserved. So and he kind of looks back at the butler. So is that it?
Well, we did exactly what you sent us in to do. We killed the undead. We killed the smugglers. We released someone who had been kidnapped or tied up by the smugglers. Poor innocent soul from town.
Oh, what a lucky survivor.
His name is Ned.
Yes,
Ned?
that's correct.
Do you know a Ned? Skin.
Ned the survivor.
Shakes his head no.
I have a question, DM.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Prime Water is calling the council, is he going to? Maybe I should have asked this, but like I just want to make sure I didn't miss something. If he's calling the council about a potential larger threat that was triggered by him learning about his stolen goods, is he going to reveal the fact that his
I think he changed his mind, didn't he? I'm assuming he changed his mind and said, "Yeah, tell him that I lost my stuff."
No,
It's a little unclear. He never went back on that, but
then I'll just see you, and whatever the smugglers were up to, they're dead, so they can't continue with their business.
Good.
And it sounds like that's right up your alley for preference.
You've got that right. So many good folk, innocent folk here in Saltmarsh, and people that meddle in that kind of stuff they just bring misfortune on us all. So now, okay, and he brings out a chest, and you can hear a heavy clink as he kind of uses a little key on a necklace that's tucked in a necklace in his shirt, opens it up and takes out a couple pouches, and then Scarin kind of leans forth and whispers something in his ear, and he kind of and he leans back from the chest. So I heard that you guys went to see Gellin Prime Water. Is there something I should No, I mean, I thought we got off to a great start here. I thought maybe
We did completely. I like I told your employee, it was something that I wanted to have a conversation with him about personally, and had no bearing on the agreement that we made. We cleared out the property as you requested.
Right, and that's awesome. That's great. I just because and he kind of looks over to Scarin and he's like, right, and Scarin nods. But yeah, that's the thing is, I got a message and we're being summoned to council. You know, I'm a council member, and he's gonna take Gellen's gonna like take credit for this now about whatever happens. I'm sure of it. I mean, you guys come back after this and there's an emergency council meeting. Is
He acknowledged your part in it, so I don't know what you're worried about.
You don't know him.
Apologies, I don't. You're right.
Well, if we are asked about why we were there, then the truth of the matter is that you were the one who hired us. You were the one who had the forethought to think to clear out this threat and make the building a part of a safer Saltmarsh.
Would you say that to them?
I would.
Absolutely.
And would you look? This is really big for me. And he kind of looks over to a portrait of his late mother, who's sitting, portrait is above the mantle in the room that you're in. Look, whatever I've done before, the gold, all that, whatever. You know, I got lucky, right, with the ships and the trade routes, but making Saltmarsh safer and doing this could be my legacy, you know, a start. I just, you know, the Manistrad and Eleander, the others in the council from Neverwinter talk about how safe they keep us by bringing all these troops and by taking the taxes and stuff. And I'm starting to sound like Prime Water here, but look what's going on right under their nose.
Hey, Somar, that truly is your intention. I've got your back.
Thanks. That's good. I just want you to stick with me. I promise I'll make it worth your while. And we can do something good here. Yeah, right?
Well, that's good enough for me.
I think that, but Galen just sees a big payday, you know?
Is he your enemy?
No, I mean, Galen, it's fine. It's friendly competition, you know, but he doesn't think I should be on the council. He thinks I'm too young and naive, I guess. He thinks I'm starry-eyed or something.
If that is the case, at least you've got a good heart.
Thank you. But also, it might not be the case. But thank you anyway.
I didn't agree with you. I was just saying.
Yeah.
I can assure you that none of us here have any interest in harming anyone in the community. We're not bad guys, you know?
Of course not.
You know, we know where credit is due in this regard. All right?
And you'll say that to the council and everything, right?
It's the truth. You were the one who gave us the job. And
right,
I would not dare lie to the council.
Even if Galen starts to twist it and sort of try to bring you to his side, you would stick up for me?
By my word.
Okay.
In this matter, that is the truth, and so we'll stick to it.
Mariah, you see Scarin's eyes just kind of haven't left you in particular.
Yeah,
and he
I'm not
then
surprised.
leans and whispers to Anders Solmore, who says, right. Well, I thank you very much. And he looks towards you, Nether, says,
yeah, I saw that.
I'm very much, I can, help you with your situation too. I do have that power. I mean, you did okay right there. I mean, no, it's not the name you like, but I hope sister is well. 'Twas an awful scrape you took.
Funny.
I know that's probably not funny at all.
I do have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Being young is problematic sometimes with dealing with sort of decisions that often come up when there's no one around to. Anyway, I just was. Since you are young and you are on the council, you're likely to be a member of it for a lot longer than everyone else who's currently on it. What kind of future do you see for Saltmarsh? I kind of feel like we should know that before we decide whether or not we should back you.
Look, Nether, you. I heard about your troubles. I heard about what happened. To me, honestly, I agree with Gellin when he says that some of these people coming in, they don't understand us. They don't understand that sometimes the rat catcher's not a bad thing. We just need to be left alone and let us just be, because there's goodness here. And if people keep pulling at us, if people trying to keep taking the gold out of our hills and, running more goods through the ports, it'll become a haven for bad activity, bad actors. I just want Saltmarsh to just be. It's the town my mother and my grandmother grew up in. I want it to be that.
You want it to stay the same?
Yeah.
All right. I don't actually mind being a rat catcher. I mean, I'd be happy to take any other sort of job. But as long as the city or the town stays the same, and as long as I can go about doing what I want to do, then...
Well, you're part of Saltmarsh. You've been here most of your life, right?
That's true.
So, I mean, everyone changes and grows into new things, but it's not like you have to stay doing what you want, but you're here. You're one of us. You're a citizen here. Whether, I mean, I don't know, whatever Gellin or the others say about it, I think that's true. And you've helped me with something and you've been really nice to me, so that means a lot to me. So
well, I don't think anyone here is going to lie about what happened. And we've got some people here who are pretty good at speaking. So if Gellin Primewater tries to take credit for the good that you've just had us do on your behalf, then I'm sure that it won't stand. And as far as people going to speak to him, I mean, a man has a right to know that his property's been found, don't you think?
Excuse me, what? His property?
Well, right. We found Gellin Primewater's property in the house.
I apologize, Mr. Silmore. He was embarrassed and did not want to be seen as less in the eyes of a fellow council member.
Oh, were we not supposed to...
I'm sorry, Nether.
I'm
It's
sorry,
okay,
I should have
Nether.
just kept my mouth shut.
It's okay,
Sort
Nether.
of scoots back into the back.
It's fine. He's also up to something, so I wouldn't trust him if I were you.
Well, everyone
He's
in
always up to
Saltmarsh is
something.
up to something.
He seemed perfectly nice to me.
I'm sure he did.
DM. As that
He just
conversation
nods.
between Nether and Anders was progressing, I've been keeping my eyes on his butler. Is he meeting my gaze or is he looking away?
He was glaring intently at you for a bit. His eyes have since started darting about the conversation. You can make an insight check to determine how he's reacting to this, but
I would like to attempt that now. No. Oh my God! It's a 22.
wow!
Yay!
That never happened.
Somebody actually gets to know something.
You see, that's great. From he is immensely difficult to read, but just in the corners of his eyes, his mouth does not move. His eyebrows are absolutely ironclad still, but you see for a moment as Nether broaches the subject of Prime Water's goods, spilling the beans, relief and happiness flash across his face.
Okay. And I'm also, I was curious about what I'm assuming prompted Anders to say.
He did. It was a code word that you had been given a long ways back to one who felt they sort of owed you a favor, but to signal that this is an ally, and I want to help you out here.
Okay, I'm kind of curious, like, if I can tell, is it him specifically, like the butler? It was the butler.
Based on the way the line was
butler.
Delivered, it was probably fed to Anders.
Yeah.
Those of you watching, or would you like to describe what had happened, Mariah, for the audience, at least?
Oh, yes. So, part of the reason that I ended up here at this particular moment in time is that I got a letter. It was given to me in a tavern, sort of surreptitiously, and it noted Nether's impending troubles in Saltmarsh. And specifically, I was told, if we meet again, I will make myself known with these words. I hope sister is well. 'Twas an awful scrape she took. And I hope you'll give a moment to look on me more kindly. So, ever since that got dropped, I've just been looking at him. And kind of letting Nether lead the conversation for a while.
And with that revealed, Anders will just say, so, they'll probably be assembling soon. Do you want to go together?
Aye.
Like, that'd be cool, right? Like,
No.
Like, go in there and... What?
Think
Do we have to go? Are we being officially summoned?
We are.
Well, yeah.
Yes,
That's
Nether.
what I told you about, dear.
You didn't say we'd...
Yes, Nether.
You can sit behind me. Let them stare at me. I don't care.
She's good at that. She just lets people stare. Just stare.
Do they... I mean, I could just... Nobody really wants me there, right?
Nether, just
I
come
do.
with us. Everyone will be staring at Inaris anyway. They won't be looking at you.
We want you there.
Or it's fuck.
Yes.
Liz.
What she said.
I'm so
All right.
tired, guys. I'm sorry.
All good.
I won't let them sit there and stare at you or bother you. If they have an issue, let them take issue with me. I don't give a shit what they think.
Why would they take issue at you?
I'm drowned.
Well, because she's like an evil race, right?
Evil race.
Glares. She just glares.
I mean,
You know
hang
that's
on.
a little
I was like,
indelicate.
he kind of looks up and he's like, you told me the story. Like, so imagine Sarayan, like, to the elves up here, right?
Have we met?
I'm so sorry, Miss Triton. My name is Councilman Anders Solmore. What is it that I'm supposed to... greetings, Triton. What tidings do you bring?
Only tidings of peace.
It's a good
She
one, right? Yeah.
is
Good.
clearly,
Oh, great.
So they're about the same age, and she is digging the vibe. So she's like very definitely like more coral around the cheeks, and she's like, I am Sarayan. It is so nice to be in your home. What were you going to say? I'm Sarayan.
Wow. So yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Sorrowing.
No, I'm glad you're here. Do you want to help me with this to sort of bring some justice?
I love justice, and I love helping. So yes,
Justice.
Wow, you're great.
Wow.
you're great.
Wow. Talise is just gonna stare at Anaris like,
What just happened?
fuck?
I have no idea. But it's funny.
Right, let's go. Time for a council. So this is gonna be. You want to continue helping with this, right?
Can I take notes?
That depends. Am I evil?
Doesn't seem like it to me.
There you go.
I don't
pay out more
associate
than
with
50
evildoers,
gold?
so I hope not.
No, I just have the 50 that I promised you, but we'll probably be able. It's kind of a lot of money. We'll probably be able to arrange something with the council if you can continue to help us.
Fine.
Sounds good.
We'd love to help.
You're muted.
Ryan.
So as we go towards the council meeting, Heather will go over to Mariah. I'm sorry, but I don't understand. So Gellin Primewater wants us to help him, and Anders wants us to help him, but they both want to help the city? What?
Are we? I want to make sure that I don't answer until we
Sure,
are
this can
out
be a
of
private
earshot.
conversation.
We are caught between a rock and a hard place here, kid. Yes, except I think that they have different ideas about what it means to best help the city.
Primewater is very powerful and very dangerous. If we have a chance to get on his good side, we should really take it.
I frankly am in agreement with you. I've dealt with his people before, and I mean, you heard the way that Anders was talking. He's a little bit black and white as far as, the way that he sees the world.
He certainly doesn't care for smugglers.
No, he doesn't.
So, I mean, I know you don't talk about it much, but I know a bit more than I think you think I know.
That doesn't surprise me.
But you don't do... Gellin Primewater is angry at me because I found something that I don't think he wants me to have found.
Okay.
When you say you work with people like him, what exactly do you mean?
I move things from point A to point B. And I don't always pay for it.
Always things.
Things, never people.
Then
And
you
I don't
and
kill
Gellin
people to do
Primewater
it.
are very different.
What did you find?
People.
Where?
Where they're not supposed to be. Where they keep the things that are supposed to be moved. I know that I have certain qualities that make me very appealing to those that want to move things that they don't want people to see being moved.
Right.
But when the things make noises, and the things cry, and the things speak, and those are things that I can detect. And I'm pretty sure that that's why I'm getting the problems I'm getting now. He wants a loose end tied up. But if we can convince him that I am not a threat and that I can do good work for him, then maybe he'll let me stay.
That would certainly be ideal. I think we may run into a little bit of an issue as we've managed to tack ourselves to some rather idealistic allies.
Well, the tide is always changing.
That's true. Well, we should probably catch up before they think we've run off on them.
So you are led into the stone structure of the council hall. There is sort of a large reception area in the front. There are offices for each of the council members, various small chambers. But you are led into the central council chamber. But this takes place after a few minutes. Anders is sure to be seen walking through the streets with you, but then asks you to wait with Skarin as only the five meet for a moment. Skarin sits there quietly, seemingly not paying attention to any of the voices from beyond the doors. You can hear occasionally voices being raised, what sounds like the exuberance of Anders, and perhaps angry shouting on behalf of Gellin Primewater. You then hear a raspy, sort of husky female voice, as well as a thick dwarvish accent in a female voice, and a measured, older man talking, just barely. It dies down, and then Anders himself opens the doors to the council chamber, and with a smile, invites you in. Before you, sitting on one side of a table, looking at all of you, are the five members of Saltmarsh's council. Edda Oland, Anders Solmore, Gellin Primewater, Eleander Fireborn, and Manistrad Copperlocks. Please come in. We are ready for you now. And I think now it's like, and you will hear Gellin Primewater start to speak up, and then Edda Oland, the silver-haired woman, will put her hand up and say, Now, enough of you, Gellin, and of you, Anders. As we agreed, we would like to hear exactly how these last events transpired. Would you all like to speak, or do you have someone to speak for you?
I look to Mariah.
Hello.
Hello.
You may proceed, and she sits down.
The group of us, excluding our Triton friend here, Saran Aronoff, who we encountered after this sequence of events, were hired by your very own Anders Solmore to investigate any dangers that might be present in the house 2 miles up the coast from here, and to remove any potential threats from within. The instructions were broad, but the agreement was made. And we made our way up there. We encountered several dangers, including threats from undead, as well as a number of humanoid individuals who were holed up in the basement. They attacked us on sight. We reciprocated. They did not make it out alive. One individual was found upstairs and he was released, a townsman by the name of Ned. And we believe that the individuals who are in the basement are involved in some smuggling endeavor.
There you have it. Anders stands up. And then Gellin Primewater stands up too and says, "And under your very noses, Eleander and Manistrad, what have your sharp Neverwinter eyes and guards done about this so far? Completely unaware and useless." And he kind of makes the point about that. The other two are silent. And then Anders pipes in and says, "But it doesn't have to be that way. Look, I'm the one who hired you after all. Is there anything else you'd like to divulge to the council before I proceed?"
Who said he hired us? Sorry.
That was Anders.
It was
correct?
Anders who repeated, who piped back in again and said
that he hired us.
It was Somor that hired us.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, that's who's talking. He said, "I hired you." Is there anything else you'd like to tell the council before we proceed?
I look to the group.
The group looks right back at you.
Nether kind of, Nether's sort of looking.
Yeah, I was like, Nether's not.
not.
Nether's looking somewhere.
Listening intently.
May I make an insight check to see if he's trying to get me to talk about the goods?
Sure.
Ooh, the goods.
Oh yeah, can I do that as well?
Oh, that's not good.
goodies.
That was
goodies.
a 6 this
There
time.
are too many eyes on you. It is just.
Oh
yeah.
boy.
I was like, anybody else wanna make an insight check?
And
want some help?
Traffic in goods, and
My insight sucks.
we found a boat as well.
21.
And I will actually now produce the growing collection of paper from my pocket and reveal the various like codes that were used and like describe the lantern signaling situation.
The dwarven woman will say, "So you were right, Gillen. There is a larger threat there." And he will kind of nod happily. And Anders will then speak up and say, "Well, right. Which is why I propose that I would like to follow through. Of course, Gellin thinks that dismantling this whole operation will be fine and hiding, but I think that having these boats ferrying his goods back and forth again is just going to tip everyone off. I think that we need to take care of this, and I think you are the ones to do it. You know the way in. You found the signals at my behest, so you should take care of the larger threat. And this council has agreed to do so. We've already discussed the larger fleets that could be sent down from Neverwinter would just chase them away, and they'd hide like they do from all of the other people chasing around merchants trying to get tariffs and stuff. So there's no use in that. But it sounds like you guys have an in.
Sure.
And a tavern.
Yes.
Get out.
Councilman, if I might ask, you speak very broadly of taking care of the threat. Do you have any more specific requests or instructions about how to go about this, or is it sort of to our discretion to determine the extent of the threat and how best to meet it?
You will see then this older man, seeming to be probably a veteran. He is decorated with military medals. Will kind of come around and stand and then say, "Well, it was very clever of you to do everything that you have so far. Look,
By an inn, I'm sure that Master Solmore is speaking of deception. You could use their signals. If we sent troops up to there to wait in the house, or even sent a boat out, everyone would know. The guard would have to be mustered, alerted. Supplies would have to be found. But if you were simply leaving town and, well, happened to go by the haunted house on your way out, seeking to, well, reclaim something you left there, you could signal, head out to the boat when it's there, and deal with the greater threat. And for this, Manistrad and myself have offered to bring the riches of Neverwinter as a reward to pair with the generous gifts Anders and Gellin have agreed to as well. A sum of 500 gold pieces will be offered should you succeed in eliminating the greater threat.
And I presume with some way of proving that we have done so.
Well, yes.
Wonderful. That is, at least to my ear, sounds agreeable. I wonder whether, in addition, there might be some goods or supplies that you have at your disposal that we could outfit ourselves with to make sure that we are well prepared for this endeavor.
What exactly did you have in mind?
I look to the group. My needs are generally taken care of, but if I know that everyone has their own preferences, this is the invitation for y'all to...
Perhaps if there's a town armory or a blacksmith, we may be extended a line of credit to perhaps procure better armaments or armor.
I have some armor that needs cleaning up that I found.
There we are.
But on top of that, I want to discuss the housing possibilities of young Nether here. She was.
I had a word or two to say on that myself.
She was a massive part of this.
Indeed.
I just want to stay at the bridge. I just want to be left alone and to have permission to stay where I've been, and I'll continue to stay out of sight for the most part, and but that's all. I don't need any more favor than that.
Well,
I think
you must understand we
stay
cannot
where I've
have you
been.
menacing our important visitors.
No, I don't menace anyone. I just stay out of sight. I try to avoid coming out when people are around.
So Sorayan, in her first moment of kind of reading the room a little bit, acknowledges that Nether might be going through something similar to what a Triton experiences when they come on land, which is that it's an unusual thing and it is a sight to behold. And so I would like to try to take, acknowledging that Nether is a younger being than I, Nether aside, to encourage her to come with us and to not be ashamed of their difference.
I don't. I appreciate that, but I want to stay in Saltmarsh. That's all I know, and I'm terrified of going anywhere else.
I understand. I've not been, and you're one of the few people I've told this above the surface, but I'm entirely new to life up here, and I wonder if you and I could act as helpers to one another on this journey, and we could come out the other side strengthened together.
I've just met you, so maybe we'll see. At the moment, I'm
fair
speaking
enough.
At the moment, I'm speaking to the council.
That's fast, even for a Triton.
I
but all right.
just meant A little whisper.
Anyway.
This is an ABC
Liz is dead.
conversation.
Okay.
I don't want any trouble. I just want to stay with what I know. I want Saltmarsh to stay as it's been. And maybe as a show of good faith, if I agree to do this, I don't want any money. I just want people to know that I have Saltmarsh's best interests at heart. And if in return they could just let me be, that's all I ask.
So, Nether, make a persuasion check. However, do so at disadvantage, as this pendant you are wearing seems to pull at you. When you try to share the true feeling behind what you want, you find your words coming out flat as the coldness grows from this pendant. More intense, and you feel yourself lesser.
I'm cursed. Is this one of those things like you get an advantage thing and then for like 2 weeks everything's a disadvantage? Oh, man. Is there any visible... So I feel it. Is there any visible effect?
No.
But I definitely feel it's coming
You
from...
definitely feel it, yeah.
Shit. Thanks, Mariah.
You used it to save her, though. The first one did give you advantage.
I do specifically remember
Persuasion at
Sean
dis
saying he wanted
at
it.
fucking vantage.
Luckstone, more like fuckstone.
Oh, shit. Alright, disadvantage.
I'll give you that.
At
one.
least it doesn't just automatically fail. That's cool.
That you know of. Oh my god!
So that's a -1. That's a natural 1 for a total of 4.
No.
Oh, I'm fucked.
So you're saying something about not automatically failing. No.
He will say, "We will consider this, especially for what you have done at behest of young Anders here. But I think Anders and the rest of you would understand that sometimes hard decisions have to be made for the betterment of the community. And of course, you are part of that community, Heather, but perhaps you need to be located elsewhere for your own good and for the growing good of Saltmarsh. I mean no ill will by it."
Nether kind of like feels the pendant and or the coin that's around and just like nods and looks distracted.
I put
That's
an arm
enough
around
of
her.
that. As for weapon and armor outfitting, I can ask that you be given, well, a considerable discount by the town blacksmith. Unfortunately, this needs to be done immediately, and, well, if you're talking about repairing armor or outfitting armor for one of you, you're an interesting lot. I'm sure you're aware of that. I don't think they're just ready to fit, if you understand what I'm saying.
No, of course. Custom pieces and the like take weeks, but if there's anything on hand or the ability to perhaps have some repairs made, well, we should make it as you suggest, with all haste.
You can leave whatever items you need repaired here, and if there are any weapons, let us know and we will provide them for you.
Thank you. Your kindness.
The rest of it, well, will come in your payment, as you are not members of the Saltmarsh Guard. You will see, we can outfit you to some extent. However, you look well equipped, and you have already dealt with something very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So we trust in how you are so equipped.
That is fair, Councilman. Thank you for your generosity.
Are we quite done here? He kind of
I
looks
believe
about
so.
to the council. Good then. By our calculations, the ship should be coming around soon. Be subtle about it until And he smiles. You're very much not.
Certainly. By coming around soon, do you think that we can take the night to rest here in town and then progress, or do we need to be even hastier than that?
Are you not properly rested at the moment?
I was just curious.
Didn't we just rest? We just rested then, didn't we?
So.
No.
So
That's the reason was going.
Want to go to the bar?
It did look like he would say that they would say that they don't know how soon the ship is coming. You know, though, that the goods were mostly stowed away. There would probably be at least another day before the larger ship came to take its quarry.
All right. So, to the bar.
Aye, very good.
Yes.
To the temple.
So many different priorities.
Mariah, can we go to the blacksmith with that armor in the bag?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, council people, folks.
They've kind of turned around and begun discussing with each other, and Anders kind of leans out from behind the little group and goes, "Good job."
Thrain blushes so hard.
Oh, you're all dismissed. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
She begins bowing very awkwardly out the door.
Don't bow, just go. All right.
And you hear,
okay.
We don't do that here.
No, you're doing great.
Takes
You're doing
notes.
great.
Takes notes.
You can hear the dwarven voice in the back saying, "You know, I was a little bit skeptical about all of this, Anders, but you've shown yourself to be, well, taking quite a good initiative with all of this. I congratulate you." And you can see then Galen Primewater kind of sulking in his chair and just watching you guys leave.
I'll just wave at him.
Great. That's wonderful.
I'm gonna kill
I don't know you.
So now you have a bit of time.
As soon as we get outside, Nether takes the coin off of her and she says, "I think this thing is evil," and she just throws it down the street.
Can she?
Yep, so just
We're about
crashes
to
away
find
a
out.
little bit. Yeah,
The Luckstone?
yeah. It just
Fuckstone.
clink,
It's the
clink, clink,
fuckstone.
Interesting.
Still bad? Why would you toss it?
Wasn't that magical?
We could have sold that at least. Right?
I'll take a piece
Giving
of
it to the
cloth out of my
butler.
pocket and I'll pick it up, but with
Giving it up the butler.
it inside the pocket so I don't actually touch it.
yeah.
And I'll wrap that up and tie it off and stow it.
Okay.
I do apologize. I think I missed the moment that we were getting paid by Prime Water. Was that
I think he paid us. We all got 50 gold
we
each,
got
didn't we?
paid by Solmorn.
Someone, yeah.
right? And that was
Prime Water. We never made any deal with him. He just insinuated that if we basically sided with him, that he would pay us.
A lot more.
So there's sort of a rivalry thing going on here, and we can get in the good graces of one.
so 50 gold in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Got it. All right. So then
Apparently.
I'm assuming he paid us all 50 gold peaches each.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we
we
each
got
have-
that right.
Yeah, so actually, I will say that before you left the house, Galen Primewater, Anders Solmore did pay each of you 50 gold.
Hot shit.
Very generous.
Wouldn't say
And the council has now offered to pay
Okay.
500.
Nene, what kind of amounts
No.
do you deal with on a regular basis? Because you seem to be very, very pouty about 50 gold.
Hundreds, usually.
Sorry.
I give a skeptical look at Therese.
This is more gold than I've held in my entire
Insight
life.
check.
At least
Also inside
10
check.
pounds worth.
I was going to say, Nether, with the money you have,
22.
couldn't you afford to have a place that isn't under a bridge?
I
Or,
like it.
or at least a bigger bridge.
That's a pretty big bridge.
2 people couldn't fit down there.
Still, it's a bit trollish. I mean, not to knock bridges.
I think a nice
could get over
house Would suit
What a
you
name
better.
call.
I like my place under the bridge.
Well, then there it is.
What if we just buy
So
it?
Rayan looks at this like chump change.
Rude.
By the bridge.
Why not just buy the property surrounding the bridge itself? If we get enough money, you just own the damn thing. Then they
Or
can't
just-
tell what to do.
Maybe build a little shack next to the bridge, or
Well, if we were to somehow buy the land around it, then no one would bother you because we'd have that'd
I
be our
highly
land and
doubt
we could
it.
kick them off it.
But that's a good idea.
I don't
Yeah.
think people will be bothering for too long, Nether.
If gold doesn't work, I always have silver. And she'll hold up a dagger.
That's a bit much,
That is
I
very
think.
Nah, it works.
So, Inaris, what kind of jobs do you get paid hundreds of gold for?
Usually killing the enemies of my goddess.
Right, and
Rayan is aghast.
and
Touch those pearls.
that goddess would be
Raven Queen.
the Raven Queen. The Raven Queen. Good.
The Raven Queen.
That's like a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
know.
say, yeah.
It's like
Your
for
bird.
everyone. So
To the armory.
essentially, you will be. You guys can, if most of you probably have the weapons you need, but if someone needs to outfit with more weapons, refill any sort of bolts or anything like that, armory is open for you for that. Armor will take some time for it to be fitted to you, time that you probably don't have. And as you go to the blacksmith, he will say that it will cost 200 gold to repair the plate.
To repair the plate.
And probably 3 weeks' time
Oh, yeah.
for all the materials. A suit of plate is worth about 1,500.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it is,
to repair it, that's pretty spectacular. How much do we have in the party kitty?
I'd say I've only got
I don't think we
kitty.
have a party kitty yet.
No,
for
we
gold.
have a party
I'm
kitty. it's
sure you
just,
do.
Well, okay, let's see here. Not that much.
Yeah, like-
the non-divided, like gold that went to each people, we have 50 or probably about 50 gold if we lump everything together, and then several gold objects that we do not necessarily know the value of.
Is that with the discount, I'm assuming?
I think I know where we could sell
Yes.
those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is the discount.
I have
Alright.
I'm obviously I will pay for this. That's it. Obviously, hopefully it will go to me. I'm not
But
expecting
before
any of
you
to
before
pay
you
for
do
it.
that, I think I know where we might be able to sell those gold objects.
All right.
Oh.
We should go
Sounds alright to
maybe
me.
go speak to Captain Z.
Can I turn to the blacksmith. Can we give you this now and I give you a down payment?
He will start work and do the first 4 or 5 days of work with 50 gold.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll give him 150.
Oh, in that case, he would continue to work on it until until it didn't, make financial
So
sense.
I
anymore.
owe him 50 then. Okay. 150.
Okay.
off.
He will start work on it.
Can we go and see about selling the gold objects to Captain Z and her crew?
So, most of you don't know what Nether's talking about. However, Mariah, you would know that there is a group called the Faithful Quartermasters, who are sort of a guild of merchants? ? Their activities are a little bit questionable, but they operate so much in the open. They buy some of the catches from Saltmarsh, where they will say they will buy an entire week's catch, just put it on a single ship and send it to somewhere. They do so much commerce, that they're sort of allowed a bit of free birth, as it were, in Saltmarsh.
Lead on, Nether.
All right. Just follow me. And she does her sort of step. She knows the shortest distance between any locations, and also the ones that are most likely to be the quietest in terms of people around, which means you probably get to see some of the seedier and less. You go by quite a few things that don't smell very nice, but these are the paths that Nether knows.
Indeed, alleys with chamber pots and garbage heaps, that type of thing. And at some point you think, how do you get through there? But at step, you find that it's actually quite sturdy. Nether's path is not obvious to anyone, but it is sound, and you seem to be mostly unobserved as you go down to the south part of the city, and indeed find the guild hall of the faithful quartermasters.
Got to use a background skill.
Yeah. Leaning outside of it is a tiefling clad in
Captain
leather
X,
with sort of a
apparently. I thought it was.
long coat.
I never saw the name spelled. I thought it was a Z.
Well, you
Captain
might not
Zendros.
know the writing anyway, but Zendros and call it Captain Z. So,
Fair.
Indeed, you meet the red tiefling Captain Zendros outside. She smiles at you as you come with this toothy grin, her fangs apparent.
Hello.
It's Captain Z.
I think I am talking to some of the upcoming most famous people in Saltmarsh now. Good to see all of you.
Captain Zendros, this is Mariah. And this is Valentine Longtom. Inaris. Talise. And Prionsa Namara. And
Don't know my real name.
wait, we just know Prion.
You just know Prion, yeah.
This is Prion, and this is Ryan.
Triton, Ginikin, Edrao. What and the Tabaxi, I believe. Ha! What an interesting group of friends you have brought together. What can we do for you? What is it that the faithful quartermasters can arrange for you?
We have some goods to trade that I don't know where else we could go.
Oh, very well. Well, let's see what you have, huh? Come on. And she kind of actually just spreads out a cloth on a table out in front of the guild hall and kind of sits down and rolls up her sleeves.
As we're getting ready to, move up to that position, I whisper to Valentine, you seem like a perceptive fellow. I would trust in your ability to know whether we are being cheated in these ways. So, go get him, Tiger, and I will grant you inspiration. Don't
Inspired.
Inspired.
And then walk up to the place, and I will lay out the apple, the skull, the rose in vase. I took the vase. And the 5 discs of gold.
What about the magical fuckstone?
I'm not gonna fuck with the fuckstone right now.
As you, Nether, you also feel a cold feeling as tied around your neck again is the stone. Fuck. Mariah, the next time you go to look for it.
9 hells!
Can you just take that off, dear? I look in my pocket.
throws it as far as she can, just in a random direction.
These are very interesting items. They seem to be mundane things made into gold.
Indeed.
A skull, but not like a gold skull like someone made it in particular. Almost like an actual skull was made into gold. And these are usually made of lead. Having a gold weight, this is not the particular weight you want when counterbalancing. Where did you get these things?
Oh, they were discovered in one of our many exploits.
Oh, really? Were they? Come now.
Yes.
So, well, do you want a story or do you want a
The
set?
shade of it all.
I want an answer to my question, really. We're doing business
She's a
here,
very
come on.
upright individual. She has no interest in buying stolen goods.
I see. Apologies, Capitan. These were discovered in a lab to the north. What we believe is that they were perhaps the works of an alchemist, but what you see before you is indeed solid gold items.
You meaning to tell me that he has found a way to transform mundane objects into gold?
Well, if he has, he's no longer around to tell the tale.
I mean, to tell you that he has found a way to transform himself into a ghost and most of his compatriots into skeletal, remains that seem to keen on attacking us. So, also the gold as well. So there seemed to be a give and a take there.
But to be honest and clear, we're not really sure what or why these things were there.
That's true.
We just know that they're not as useful as coin. So if you give us coin for them, then wonderful.
That is fair. And she kind of turns them over. She takes out a little eyeglass to examine. I'm afraid that your alchemist was not entirely forthcoming. At least, if he has the secret to make things into gold, he had not quite reached it yet. There's a seam along this skull. This was cast. It was not transmuted. You see, it's very subtle here.
Truly.
Mm-hmm. But it's still worth its weight in gold, I guess. One might say.
Surely there's a market for someone who wants an actual skull cast in gold.
Perhaps. So I give you 20 for the skull, the apple and rose, 10 gold between the two of them. Another 10 gold for the discs. How does that sound?
So it's a total of 40, right?
That is correct.
I look at Valentine.
Can I get an insight on it?
Yeah, I'm sort of wondering whether we want to get some insights to see whether we're being cheated here. Is
Sure.
the meta ponderance.
Yeah, say.
I haven't rolled above a 10 tonight.
Oofta doofta.
Is that the,
code for
the
something?
only insight?
Yeah. Well, mine was a 9, so I don't know. Oh, Prime was a 12.
I gave you a die, Valentine.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought we were trying to go for persuasion here, not insight.
So between all of you as you're looking...
Ooh, Talise, hello.
Ha ha!
There's something a little shifty going on about this. Especially when she talks about the discs. She probably lowballed you on the solid, on the counterweights.
Well, 40 certainly sounds like a relatively decent starting price.
Yes, my thoughts exactly. I'm sure some of these items are just, I'm not quite sure, but I think maybe you could give us better prices on several of these. And if you don't want to, I'm sure we could go to someone else who would gladly sell them to us and then get a much higher market later.
You said so yourself that we were about to become heroes. I'm sure there's plenty more where these came from.
Did say that, didn't I? Huh. Tell you what. How about I take these things and consider yourselves the clients of the faithful quartermasters. And we will take it and do our thing and bring you a few curiosities to pick over. It may take a little bit of time, but I take these things, I go away for a bit, and bring you what I find. This is kind of what we do, you see.
I see, an exchange of of oddities for oddities.
Something like that. So we are perfectly happy to take your gold too in the future.
Oh, lovely, lovely. As are we. So we'll do the exchange and then 25 gold?
No. You see what I'm saying is I take all of this and I come back in a week or so and we
I know,
see
but
what it is you would like to take.
Oh, no, I understand, Captain. I understand. Just a week is a
So
long.
it's an investment.
It is. I cannot promise anything, but we've been here this whole time. You might find something you like.
I mean, it sounds potentially exciting to me. I don't have a problem with it.
Or if you need us to hunt something down in particular, something you absolutely must have your hands on, something to keep you safe, something to bring pain to your enemies, we can do that too, but it is very, very expensive.
Well, perhaps we just start with the curiosities.
The curiosities it is. So we are at a deal?
I look to the group to sort of make sure that there's an assent.
And,
Access to things that Captain Z has is probably worth more than 40 gold.
Yeah, that sounds about right to
Especially if
me.
he gives them to us at a special friends rate.
What did you say, Chow?
Nether is very wise. So,
Yes,
and
she
she
is.
bundles up the gold pieces, puts them away.
Chow had something to say. Sorry, we cut her off.
Oh, and Iris was just going to say that she had a particular item that she's looking for.
What is that?
It's something that I've heard of. It's a devotee's sensor.
But
would be quite useful in my work for the Raven Queen.
Oh, servant of the Raven Queen. To find that, we could give it a try. So I'm looking this up. So it would take me about a month. And what is the rarity of the item?
It is.
It's rare.
Rare.
It would cost you 10,000 gold.
You've lost.
And I can have it to you in a month.
I'll find it on my own.
Good luck.
Well, sounds like we have a deal, and I hold out a hand to shake.
She reaches out and shakes.
All right. Pleasure doing business with you. We look forward to seeing what you come up with.
So good to see you coming into your own, Nether. I always believed in you. There's always a place for you here in case these folk don't work out.
Appreciate it as always, but I'd be lost if I had to leave Saltmarsh.
I see. Very well. Though, if you need anything, any supplies, nautical, mundane, or whatever, the faithful quartermasters are always here to serve.
Do you know where we might acquire some potions?
Oh, I could do that. We have some here, in fact. There is a wizard over in the town here, but I would not deal with him. He is problematic, eccentric.
Yeah, that comes with the class.
Nether, do you know this wizard?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Just want to make sure we
You
have
have heard
Sure
so
do.
many stories, and you're sure that at least most of them aren't true. He is a strange fellow that not many people know. You know that sometimes the guard deals with him, sometimes the council does, but mostly
He's a
he sits up
fearsome
in his
man.
tower, and it's
Nobody even really knows his name.
yeah.
Well, then we know what to look out for and
He
avoid.
sits alone in his tower.
It's not quite
Yes.
that dour, but
Oh, Nether's terrified of him.
yes.
I like it.
All right. Well, with that business closed, shall we go to the bar?
Oh my gosh.
On the way out, Daenerys will say, just find the damn weapon. I'll deal with the gold later. I really want
Is
that
there
weapon.
anything for sale at a bar for 50 gold?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of, that you could get a lot of 50 gold.
She will also actually say she could sell you a healing potion for 75 gold pieces.
I'll take that.
Appropriate.
Hey,
Can we get
this cat needs at least one more of his 9 lives.
Can we get
So-
Valentine a magic item that's got like orcish resilience?
Yeah, what are you at 6 now? 5? 6? 5?
4
lives? 4 lives.
Oh, yeah,
Three?
no. Down to
3?
6th life. Yeah.
Mariah, I can't really tell what coins are gold and what are silver and all that, so, could you hold on to this for me?
Absolutely, dear.
Maybe this time it won't get stolen.
Yes, that would be ideal.
You guys will be able to complete a rest.
Get hammered.
In town if you want.
I can't
And
drink
then-
in real life, so you got to let me drink in D&D.
Yeah, right.
So are you clear on what your plan is, your instructions?
Get hammered.
Yes.
Yeah, boss said to get hammered. I heard that.
So we wait the day. Well, we have a day to get back to the house, and wherein we think the ship is going to be then coming back for the cargo.
Yeah, we should probably make our way there during the day tomorrow, or maybe even leave very early in the morning, and make as if we're leaving town officially, and then go up there and sort of camp out with the lantern situation.
DM, with my sailor background, with obviously the signaling, wouldn't that be best sort of done in a mist, or can that be done any time of day?
It would probably actually only be effective at night.
At night, yeah. So and Prion would know that, yeah.
Yeah.
And the plan is for us to signal, and
Get the okay
we would
to
just
go
we're
aboard.
going to then row out to the ship and then try to take it over.
Yes.
Or
That's the plan.
That sounds fun.
or bring them to us. Then they send people to us. Isn't that?
I don't know. I'm gonna look
if they
at
were
the
to
note
if they
again.
were to send people to us, we could kill them.
No, okay. So
and
what
then
it-
go, and
the-
then take a
the-
boat and go out to the ship.
the specific instructions that we have on this note are everything's safe, is it safe, and ready to unload, come to the ship. So that's probably reading signals from them.
So
yeah.
So
So-
the boat will signal, is everything safe? We signal everything is safe. Then we wait for them to say shipment is ready, row out to the boat.
Yeah.
And then we row out to the boat and we blow them up.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Prion will relay the information that at night is when the signal would get sent.
That makes sense. I would know that. Alrighty.
So that sounds like you guys nestled in a tavern or doing whatever you want for the evening. Unless someone has something else they'd like to do, I think that's a good place to cap it a little early with a dangerous
But I was going to talk to
task
Sarayan,
on the
but she's
horizon.
apparently not
Nope.
joining us in the
She's-
tavern.
She's burbed.
Oh, she'll be back in a little bit. If you guys want to hang out in the tavern too.
Yeah, we
you're
should
welcome
talk
to.
some more in character.
Let's just vamp.
Are there any musicians here?
You?
It's getting busier.
Aside from me.
Let's see here. it's becoming more of evening time in the tavern, and yes, a group of musicians have started to play, and where it once was empty because you guys were kind of just day drinking. As the day gets later, you do have more presence in the tavern.
At some point when they're not in the middle of playing, I will sort of inquire if they mind me sort of joining in for a couple songs just for funsies. I don't expect any of their tip. I just kind of want to improv for a while on my fiddle.
Yeah, they will absolutely invite you in.
Cool.
This is a kind of a normal thing.
Yeah.
A lot of sailors pass the time on their ships with music, and so these sort of impromptu sessions are not uncommon here in Saltmarsh.
And during this, while I bring out my beautiful blue violin and start playing, and it starts to give off strange sort of shifting colors that kind of start to spread out into the air around me. And while this is happening, I have summoned a sort of spectral hand that is playing on the drum that is attached to my hip. So adding a dual instrument situation to whatever's going on here.
That's pretty cool.
All about that bass.
Drum.
She plays so beautifully.
Is there people dancing? Because Prion will probably try and attempt to dance.
Oh yeah, it will be a little
If he's had a
wary at
few.
first, but yeah, there's a dance going about.
He hasn't really drunk before much, so he's a bit wet behind the ears.
In Undercommon, Valentine asks Inaris how long she has been on the surface.
Long enough. 10 years, give or take.
10 years, not very long. What finally drove you to the light?
Between us, I'm not a full drow. I'm only half.
Well, you certainly pull off the dourness well.
It's a talent.
Oh, it's a skill, I say. I applaud you.
It was either leave or die.
Yeah, no, they don't take well to those not of the pure blood.
No, I'm rather disgustingly tainted, unfortunately.
Oh, I wouldn't say so. I think you're quite lovely.
But suppose.
Goodness!
Fine.
I didn't know a drow could turn that color. I thought it was just dancing lights.
Sure.
Oh.
The Raven Queen is the one that summoned me to the surface. She called me. She wanted me, even though what should have been my goddess did not.
Ah, yeah. It's alright. I imagine you're not too loath to leave her, so.
It wasn't easy. I was less than thrilled. It does suck to be told that you're not good enough.
That makes sense.
Plus, they found out that I was half drow and destroyed my entire house in front of me and murdered my family, so. What do you do?
Wow, we are just like a drink and a half in, and we are just getting it all. That's, well, I'm terrible.
No, this is drink 5. This is 5.
5, wow. It's been going right into my tail. Sorry to hear about that, though you don't seem too broken up about it.
I've seen worse.
Well,
Not enough alcohol for that conversation.
of course. Well, lovely to make your acquaintance.
A pleasure as well. Hopefully you will remain with us for a while. Whatever it is we're doing.
I say, as long as there's money involved.
Everyone's trying to get
Beyond
everyone
is-
else to dance.
Ask who to dance?
He's trying to get everyone to come and dance.
There's no way in bloody hell.
Oh no, come on.
Get Sarayan.
This is the
Get her
friendly
to do
side
a
of
lander
Breon
dance.
here coming out.
Ryan
Oh.
will consider it.
Lander dance.
He just goes and grabs some hands and starts pulling them up.
A scholarly endeavor. And so she's like dancing, but also writing things down.
Boogie, 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 yeah.
Nether stays in a shadow but close to where the music is. Is she welcome here? Is anybody giving her a hard time?
They better not.
I better not.
People are keeping their distance, and no one's really approaching and offering you a drink.
Nether, would you like a drink?
Sure.
What do you have?
This is like just the second time I've been in here. There's a place actually right here underneath the floorboards where you could sit and listen to the music and all, but I've never, I mean, that other day yesterday when we were here, this is the empty, no, this is the snapping line.
It is the snapping line.
Yep.
Snapping line.
Very
So this is where we were here before the day before.
Yes.
Oh, I'll just. What do they have?
Well, all right. So, all the times that you've sat there under the floorboards, what was a drink that you heard that you wanted to try? They've got that.
I tried the claw wine, and that's fine, but I know there's other things. I mean, I've had drinks before, but I mean, they're not like drinks from a cup. They're like swigs from a bottle.
Well, I will absolutely demand you are given a cup, unless you prefer a bottle.
Well, no, I mean the kind of drinks that come in cups.
Of course. Would you like a drink that comes in a cup?
If that's what they have. What do they have?
Of course. Bartender.
You will see the just kind of look around like what? Looking at you. So, yeah.
May I have a drink in a cup? Your finest drink in your finest cup.
He kind of nods and climbs up and kind of pulls a little ladder over and goes to the very top of the shelves. Grabs a dusty old bottle. He kind of holds this up.
You might want to check
Does
the
it
price
hold
on
it?
that.
Eldritch
Yeah.
blasts everywhere.
He brings it down, pops it open, and very carefully pours. He actually puts out a bit of cheesecloth on top of a glass, and
it is what you pay for, people.
It's
Cash
very
that sediment.
carefully out into a small decanter, and then transfers the liquid into the two glasses and brings it out to you.
10 gold.
It's probably like 17 platinum or 7,000 platinum.
Yeah.
There you are, Nether.
You could have been drinking sediment.
Only the finest, as you said.
That one
That'll
would
be
be
20 gold for the two.
lovely. Go ahead and slap 20 gold down.
So Nether, it has it half of your lips. She hears that. She's like,
Just.
"Is that how much a cup costs?"
Well, no. That's the finest. That's the finest thing in the finest cup. So that's. I think the cup's free. It's free at that point, right? With the 20 gold.
Do I get to keep the cup?
Yeah.
Well, sure.
All right. And she takes a swig and just.
It's like a nice pewter cup.
Constitution save. Constitution save.
No, this is basically a very, very old port. So it's fortified wine.
Of course it is. It's Saltmarsh.
Oh, fuck me with a fishnet.
Mariah hears this and is like, okay.
Where'd she learn
Rain
that
is
phrase?
aghast.
It's a lot of time down by the docks. Damn.
This is really good. Did you get some?
I sure did. You gave me 20 gold.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Immense amount of stone fruit, sort of raisin and plum. And, yeah.
Yeah, you can taste the plum. It's nice.
Thank you, Valentine. That's very nice of you.
Absolutely. My pleasure, Nether. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Otherwise, you might be dead. Hell, I've been dead like almost 3 times now. So drink up while you
I
can.
need to ask about that. I heard a lot of fighting and a lot of falling.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get up again?
Oh, cats have 9 lives. You didn't know that?
I did not know that was
No.
literal.
Yeah, no. Literal. God's truth.
Inside check.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't die.
Oh, me
You
too.
could buy me a 20 gold piece drink.
We're keeping these cups, by the way, just in case you're wondering.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
You won that one.
Mm.
Thank you.
Did I manage to pull anyone up to dance?
Yeah, did anyone accept Prion's offer to dance?
Eee! The one that was trying to get Nene up dancing too.
Sorayan definitely does for science.
Prion's a lucky man. He pulls both ladies
For
up to dance.
science.
Liz, you owe me.
Inspired! All right.
Inspired.
Prion pulls you both up. It's kind of a communal dance. There are steps to it that are easy enough to find. It's not a complicated jig or anything. I mean, it's kind of a partner dance where you kind of rotate throughout the crowd and exchange partners and everything. And
Does anybody want
Interest-
to exchange me because I'm a drow?
are you getting up and dancing?
If she yanks me up, yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Prion's yanking everyone up. You can.
Yeah.
It's probably had a
I'll
few-
take you with me.
few too many.
I will make you have fun.
Those of you who go and allow yourself to be swept up into it will feel, though people may be taken aback at first by who they're with, because you've accepted this, you're drinking with them, you're dancing with them, for a moment you don't feel so much like outsiders here in this dance. You feel part of it. For the first time in Eris, someone kind of smiles at you, or when you accidentally make a small misstep or whatever, assuming you don't stab someone for it, they kind of laugh and smile at you. The first time really someone has shown you that courtesy in town. So these are, when you're here, these people, Saltmarsh sees you as, well, maybe if not one of their own, welcome for the time being.
So you mean to say that when you're here, your family?
Boom!
Maybe not quite. Dancing and drinking into the night, you guys will also be offered rooms. Between all of you, that'll be all the rooms in the inn, but
Nether will go and spend the night under the bridge.
okay, leaves one empty. You're able to find your way back through the darkness in your regular paths.
Can I catch her really quick before she runs off?
Probably. It's probably not a familiar thing for her to
Easy
go
to
out
catch.
the door.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I wanted to ask you, by the way, were you angry with me yesterday when I almost died?
Yeah, very angry. You're supposed to be smarter than that.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry. But in case
Apology
of
accepted.
future emergency, and I'll guide her hand to a part of my belt pouch and show her how to open it. I have a healer's kit in there.
Oh.
And so I will spend a few minutes to show her where everything is and make sure she understands how to use it. I will do everything I can so that doesn't happen again, but we're headed into dangerous waters. So, best to be equipped.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You played beautifully tonight.
Thanks. There'll be more of that. And if you have any requests, let me know.
Maybe the maid in the Selkie sometime.
It's a good one. I'll practice it. It's been a little while. All right. Have a good night, okay?
Good night.
And, unless there's anything else, you all go to your rests. Another day in Saltmarsh completed. Greater danger, though, on the horizon.
Then bring me the horizon.